There we go. That looks a little, no, still.
Just as a heads up, I'm live on my side, so don't say anything top secret or revealing, okay?
Damn, I was just about to confess to having a micro. But all right, thank you for saving me.
I got you,
on
dude.
that. The world will never know. Yeah, all right, whatever. I'm hosting, so my video doesn't even have to be that great, so it should be fine for now. Yeah, so real quick, debate prompt that we agreed on is, let me pull it up, is, okay, have Trump's first 6 months been a success or failure? And I think there's a lot of subtopics we can delve into there. Yeah, we'll start off with like a quick opening statement, nothing crazy. Then we'll do just open dialogue. Then we'll go into closing statements. Something we go for like a hour and a half. I think is good, but we'll play by ear, see how the debate unfolds.
Fine with me.
Cool. All right. Everybody ready?
Yep.
Yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna go live. Hey, what's up, guys? We are live. We got a fun debate for you. We got Destiny coming back to the channel, first time in 5 years. And we got Misfit making his first appearance on my channel. So, Destiny, you guys already know. Misfit, you've probably seen on X or Instagram, where he's been blowing up recently. Two guys from the opposite sides of the spectrum, political spectrum, that is. And so the debate proposition is going to be, have the first 6 months of Trump's presidency been success or failure? I think you can probably figure out who's going to be arguing which side. So we're going to do opening statements. It's going to be open dialogue. I probably won't need to talk that much. I will only step in if one person is refusing to answer a specific question that I think is relevant, or if someone's just not able to get a word in, or is there something that's going on that's repeatedly bad faith. Other than that, I'm probably too much talking. All right, so who wants to, does anyone have any preference about going first or going second?
Doesn't matter.
I can go first.
Cool. All right, kick it off.
Yeah, I mean, obviously, I would say that the first however many days he's been in office has been kind of a failure, depending on how you look at it. I don't know how you can look at it positively, but I would say that the Department of Justice has been weaponized in a way that it never has been before in the history of the entire United States. The idea of specifically calling out law firms and executive orders is insanely unhinged. I think that the use of the DOJ to try to do like a quid pro quo with Eric Adams in New York, it was indefensible. I think that when Trump came in, he promised that he would try to lower the debt, obviously the big, beautiful bill, and Doge was just like a complete and utter failure and catastrophe when it came to managing debt levels in the United States. I think that the Epstein stuff is something that a lot of Trump's cabinet members had hyped us up on for months or years coming into this administration, and they've completely dropped the ball on that. I think on a foreign policy level, he failed on all of his stated goals. You know, we didn't get an end to the violence in Ukraine. You know, we had tons of peace deals, I guess, or ceasefires with Hamas that have all been broken. None of that stood. He didn't end either of those conflicts. And when it comes to just open corruption, I think that this administration is openly corrupt in ways that we've never seen with a president before. We can bounce through a million of these, but I think the largest example would be the Trump and Melania coin, I think are absolutely unbelievable and unhinged.
Cool. All right, Misfit.
Okie dokie. Yeah, I'm trying to keep this quick, but it's a little long. Let me start off by saying, so I never spoke with Destiny before. I don't really watch his content. Heard he's a skilled debater, but I don't really think people understand what that term actually means. A skilled debater will argue the facts, but the debate me bros, which I would consider Destiny, is more of a master manipulator as opposed to a skilled debater, using narcissistic abuse tactics and gaslighting and gotcha moments and saying I won before the debate's even over. It's just not really what a debate is. That being said, in this debate, I will be as thorough as possible and present my arguments by backing them up with real facts and statistics. For instance, this debate is about whether or not Trump's first 6 months in office are a success or a failure. So here's a list of what I believe to be many of his accomplishments in the first 6 months of the administration. Destiny will have a hard time refuting these, but I'll provide the facts to each of these on my list, all of them if you want to go that long, for our discussion. Feel free to write these down, Destiny, if you want, or I can repeat them if you'd like later in. So, 1, Midnight Hammer, trade deals and policy, executive orders, Title IX, border is 96% down, 3% GDP growth, inflation down 2.1%, 600 terrorists removed, Lake and Riley Act, 671,000 jobs added, $100 billion in revenue from tariffs, Doge cutting USAID, Maha lowering drug costs, $29 billion surplus, EV mandate gone, Paris Accords gone, increasing NATO spending, ending the Department of Education, 1 million people illegals self-deporting, military recruitment is up, extended the TCJA, forcing Mexico and Canada to address the fentanyl crisis, bringing manufacturing back, energy, ending child mutilation, ending DEI, and by the way, through his negotiations and diplomacy, he's ended about 7 wars: Azerbaijan and Armenia, Cambodia, Thailand, Israel, Iran, Rwanda and Congo, India, Pakistan, Egypt, Ethiopia, Serbia, and Kosovo. Now, like I said, Destiny won't be able to argue all of these facts. We'd have to be here for hours. But that's just the list that I put together since yesterday. I did 90% of that from memory because there's just so much that Trump has done. But because Destiny can't argue the facts on even most of these, I'm sure he'll try to pick them apart, but he'll most likely pivot to Trump's character, like all liberals do. Pretty soon he'll be calling Trump an insurrectionist, racist, misogynist, and all the other ist words he can think of, because that's all he can do. He will give the usual talking points, try to change topics, pull up some obscure legal statute or some other bullshit, obscure fact that I don't know about because nobody knows about, and then he'll try to hammer me down on it because I haven't memorized every legal definition throughout time. But all of that is deflection, because the vast majority on both sides have looked at the first 6 months of this administration versus the entire 4 years of the last one, and they know in their heart of hearts that Trump has already accomplished more to improve the lives of Americans in 180 days than Biden did in 1,460. The irony is, even with all that going on for me in this debate, I still technically can't win because, again, these YouTube debates are not debates. They're popularity contests. This is a show, and winning is based on how many fans you have. He has way more fans than me, but again, I'm still going to try to do as best I can. But I'm not really here to win. I'm here to have a conversation. I don't even know why people keep asking me to do these debates, because I'm not really a debater. I've said this. I'm a shit poster and a troll. I'm not a serious person by nature. And to be completely honest, neither is Destiny, but and this isn't ad hominem. I think it's relevant to point out before I wrap up my opening, which is wrapping up. But there's, the videos of Destiny performing a sexual act. There's the stream of his girlfriend hooking up with a dude in the background. And there's allegations from women. And I don't know if those are true. I don't even care if they're true. I'm only bringing this up to point out the fact that anyone under the notion that this debate is between two intellectuals that should be taken seriously should have their fucking head examined. This is entertainment, and I actually enjoy doing it, which is why I continue to accept these challenges. So let's put on a good show, and I look forward to hearing your arguments, sir.
Cool. Just before we jump into the open part, I say we just, on both sides, stay away from anything personal related, because that's just so off topic for the, whether Trump's a good president or not. All right. Anyway, kick it off. Whoever wants to go first, feel free.
Yeah. So I guess my first point has to do with the weaponization of the Department of Justice. Do we feel like the offer that was made to Eric Adams to dismiss all of his charges if he'd play ball with the Trump administration, was that like an unprecedented weaponization of the Department of Justice?
I don't really know if that reporting's accurate. Did Trump offered? Is that an official offer? Did he come out and say we offered him a deal?
So Bovee, the deputy attorney general, wrote a letter saying that they would suspend the charges against Eric Adams without prejudice, meaning they can bring them back after the election season, that they would suspend those charges with Eric Adams if he agreed to listen more to the administration heads when it came to like immigration enforcement and stuff.
Yeah, I'd have to look more into that. I don't really care.
Okay, let's assume that actually happened. Would that be a really bad thing?
I would say that it's political. And
can you think of any other president or any other part in human history for the United States of America where an offer like that has ever been done so openly and blatantly before?
Yeah, when Biden pardoned like every fucking one of his friends, like right before he left office, he gave preemptive pardons to Adam Schiff. He gave preemptive pardons to his entire fucking family. So I don't want to hear anything from your side about hooking people up as far as legal favors, or
what was
making sure their charges either don't go away or never manifest.
So what was the quid pro quo that was offered for him pardoning people as he leaves office? Can you give me an example of one of these?
Well, we don't know. They were preemptive. Biden basically said, any crimes that happen to you, you'll get away with. So
okay, so you don't have an example then of anything else that's been like the Eric Adams stuff, where somebody's openly told somebody that they were going to temporarily take away their charges as long as they played ball with the administration.
Like, again, I would have to look into that.
But if it did happen, that would be really bad, and you can't think of anything else that's equivalent to that, right?
Yes, I can think of something worse, and I just mentioned it. But
Well, you didn't give me any examples there. You just said he pardoned all his families and Schiff and everybody else. You didn't give me.
you don't think that it was wrong for Biden to pardon his entire family?
Doesn't matter if it's wrong or not. I was asking if it was a quid pro quo setup like Trump tried to do with Eric Adams, or is currently doing with Eric Adams.
There's no like hard evidence about this, but I believe
The letter that Bovee wrote was public. If you're talking about the Trump thing, yeah.
Is it illegal?
I'm not asking if it's illegal or not. I'm asking if you think it was a quid pro quo. If you think that there's any other part in like U.S. history where a president has weaponized his DOJ like that before.
I'll secede the argument if, like you said, if I was to look into this and find out that there was a quid pro quo and it was for some political favor, then yeah, it would be wrong.
Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
Do you think that targeting, like writing executive orders, calling out specific law firms? Has any other president in U.S. history ever done that before? Getting mad at them just because they worked with people that investigated him in the past?
Well, which executive order are you referring to?
I mean, there are numerous ones. I can look them up for you if you want. I mean, there was one calling out like Eli Cohen or whatever.
I remember that Trump was going after law firms that were engaging in what a lot of people believe is, inappropriate behavior, and putting an executive order against all firms so that behavior is stopped is within his purview.
What was the inappropriate behavior?
Like targeting people and targeting Trump, but Trump is using himself as the example. When something bad happens to Trump, he uses it as a baseline to stop it from happening to other people.
And what was the example of the inappropriate behavior that these law firms?
I don't even know. You didn't even give me the law firms. So I don't just like you, I don't know the executive order you're talking about.
Well, I don't know the numbers of them, but the executive orders were focusing on law firms that had just worked with Hillary Clinton or worked with Mueller in the past.
But you're just saying words. You're just like, okay, Trump did this, and I'm like, okay, show me, and I haven't seen it.
Okay. I mean, we can read through some if you want. Would you like to do, or?
I mean, it's up to you, man. I'll let you continue with your line of questioning, and then I'll ask some questions of you.
Do you think that Donald Trump suing like Ann Seltzer in Iowa because he didn't like the results of the poll? Do you think that that's a good use of, I guess, presidential?
Is he suing her? Is he suing her, or is the Department of Justice?
He's suing her personally, but he is the president of the United States.
So presidents can't sue people if they're.
Can you think of a single example in U.S. history where another president has sued somebody while he's in the office of the presidency ever?
Why does there have to be?
Just asking if you can think of one.
No, but it doesn't matter. A person can sue anybody at any time, as long as they feel like there is a valid claim. So I don't know. Are you saying that Trump should suspend his rights as an American citizen because he's the president?
I'm saying that the president of the United States suing pollsters because he doesn't like their polls is really bad. It's just a really.
Are you talking about the poll? Are you talking about the poll that had like a 17-point swing and no other poll had that, where it was like there was
doesn't matter.
It was
any
absolutely
poll, yeah.
ridiculous. Yeah, no, I think that what they engaged in was election interference by posting that poll. I believe that what they were trying to do was inflate the numbers and drive up. More positivity for Kamala Harris.
If you think it was election interference, that's what you're doing. Why would Trump do a civil case? Why would he do a criminal case then?
Maybe that's the only avenue his lawyers saw fit. I don't know. I'm not on his legal team.
Okay, so that doesn't make any sense. His lawyers saw fit. He can just direct the Department of Justice to do an investigation.
Okay. Again, let's go back to this. Right, Donald Trump is a United States citizen as well as the president. Right, and he has the same rights that we do. Whereas, so if I felt like somebody had wronged me, right, like I'm going through a defamation case right now. If I felt like somebody has wronged me, I wouldn't think that my position, as long as I was separating it, I don't think that Trump is using federal government funds to fund his legal case, is he? He's donating his salary, so I don't see how that could be tied to it. I think what he's doing is what every American citizen has the right to do.
Okay, so if Barack Obama was suing Fox News because he doesn't like some of their news coverage, you think that would be fair? Well, if he were doing that as his presidency?
I mean, so the reason Donald Trump is suing somebody is because he doesn't like their coverage?
Yes, he doesn't like the poll.
No, so is that what the legal, what their their legal team is arguing, my client doesn't like this poll, so we're suing.
Well, of course, that's not they're going to file and argue. They're arguing that it was a rigged poll.
So instead of
Obama wouldn't say he doesn't like him. He'd say that Fox News is rigging their news coverage or something, right?
Sure. So, well, when you see the dishonest action that you just did was you tried to say that Donald Trump is suing somebody because he doesn't like a poll. What is the
Well, that is why he's
lawsuit?
suing them. The lawsuit is claiming that there is rigging.
That's your opinion. That's your opinion. Your opinion is not valid here.
Well, the reason why I'm saying that's my opinion is because if he really felt like there was an election rigging thing going on, then he would direct the Department of Justice to investigate. He wouldn't be doing a civil lawsuit.
Maybe he's doing both.
He's not.
Maybe maybe he is. Investigations take time. But again, I think that what we're, just like I said in my opening statement, what you're going to try to do is try to hammer on obscure facts about Donald Trump.
So these aren't obscure facts. They're some of the most important things. I linked an executive order in the chat if you want to read it. We can go over the one for Paul Weiss. I'm not linking obscure facts. These are important. The problem is that MAGA wins arguments by never going through any of the facts because they don't know any of them.
How is this related to Donald Trump's administration being a success or a failure in the first 6 months?
Because I would argue that rewriting the rules of conduct for how the Department of Justice or how the president himself can act with regards to our legal system is corrosive to democracy in the United States. And he is rewriting it because you admitted, even if it is allowed, no other president in U.S. history has ever filed civil suits while president of the United States against other people.
Setting precedent isn't rewriting something.
What do you think precedent means? Setting precedent definitionally rewrites the rules. You're setting precedent. You're making something.
Rewriting would be getting rid of and starting over. By Trump being the first to do something doesn't mean he's rewriting. It means he's writing. So I don't understand your argument.
Okay, fine. We can say, instead of rewriting, we can say writing new rules, if that makes you feel better about what he's doing.
It's still not new rules. The rules have always
Presidents
been in
typically
place.
don't sue people in civil suits while they're president because they understand how corrosive that is to the legal system in the United States.
Donald Trump's done a lot of first to be indicted, first to be impeached twice, first to do this.
Yeah, I agree. A lot of it isn't good. Yeah.
I mean, one could argue that the reason why he's got so many firsts is because a lot of the weaponization has actually been going against him. But again, can we get back to the actual topic of the debate?
This is the actual topic of the debate. And my topic is I believe that he's weaponized the DOJ in a historic way that no one has ever done before. And I think it's corrosive to American democracy.
For this argument about Trump's civil case, do you have any evidence to suggest that him filing a civil suit, which is his right, is a weaponization of the justice system?
The vast majority of the suits that he's filed seem to be weaponization of the legal system. Look at the 2020 election suits. Basically, all of those got completely tossed because they were bogus. I mean, he's engaged in the same behavior in the past. Look at how
Donald Trump won 22 of those cases. They filed over 60.
They filed 64 and they won 1.
Well, they won. I'm sorry. Did I say 22? It is along that 2. I believe they won 2. I believe they won Pennsylvania and
Wisconsin.
Won a
very small one in Pennsylvania. Maybe they won a small inconsequential one in Wisconsin, but the vast majority of them were lost, and none of them were outcome determinative.
Wouldn't you agree that winning a case is setting precedent against that there was, in fact, whether small or not, some type of election impropriety?
He didn't engage in the conspiracy that there was a small amount of election fraud. He said that there was a widespread top-down attempt to rig the election against him. He tried to rig it in 2020, but he said that the Democrats did, and he couldn't find that proof. There were a couple ballots he got tossed on procedural things, I think, in Pennsylvania, but nothing to change any of the votes of even any counties, wholesale.
So do you have any, I'm going to, obviously, I think we should go back and forth, but maybe I can ask you a couple questions so we can, you've had ample time to ask me. What do you think? Let's just pick one out of a hat. Do you believe that the 3% GDP growth and inflation being down to 2.1% is a success or a failure?
I think inflation is going up now. I thought the last number was 2.7. Just as a real quick thing, I guess, but we can move on to this point. We can talk if you want. So you acknowledge then that for all of the civil suits and for the utilization of the DOJ, no president in U.S. history has used it this way. Now, maybe you think it's a good thing, but it's novel. Trump is the first one to weaponize the DOJ and to weaponize civil cases like this while in office compared to any other president in U.S. history.
I would have to look it up, but if I will take your word for it. If no other presidents have done it, then that would mean he's the first to do it. I don't think that that's rewriting, abusing, or doing any type of weaponization of the justice system. I think that he's a citizen of this country, and if he feels like he has a lawsuit that he can file against somebody, he can. I don't see how, as long as he's doing it civilly, on his own, with his own money, and his own lawyers, I can't make that argument. I don't see how anyone can make an argument.
I mean, it's really easy. It's very obvious that the president of the United States suing you in a civil case is putting a ton of pressure on you, and it's probably a really bad thing that you have the president suing you. Like when he sues ABC and they're looking at mergers, right, for their parent companies, it's probably not good to have the president individually suing you. You know, he's the one making the final call on whether or not a merger gets approved or not, right? It's probably not good.
The Biden administration, I believe, sued. I want to say they sued Newsmax. Was it Newsmax or Fox News? They said the Biden administration had sued news organizations. I think a lot of administrations have sued news organizations.
Yeah, no, that's not true. No, that never happened. That's just not true. But
okay, sure. We could let's not do the look up everything.
Sure, that's fine. Well, here before we jump off, because we can do next topic next. Like that Fox News settlement on the Dominion thing, that was just a huge lie from top to bottom, from the Trump campaign to Fox News hosts. There's never ever in the left-leaning media been a case even remotely as big as that where everybody was lying about election fraud like that, and the Dominion people, right?
I think that there is an argument to be made that there was fraud and the fraud was not caught. And look, I'm not going to. I think after 5 years, I'm done with it. So I've moved on. But
how do you move on? Do you acknowledge that he lost in 2020 then?
I think that there was election interference.
Even though no evidence was brought, he lost basically every single suit. Nobody agrees that there was no point. Like Fox admitted they lied about all the Dominion stuff.
Well, actually, the vast majority of those cases were thrown out on standing. So it's not like they actually argued the facts of the cases and put them.
Facts of the cases are considered when you're considering standing for a case. It's not the judge's fault that the people were bringing up the fact that they wanted to throw out every single ballot as a result of some minor procedural issue.
Right up the street from me, in the 2020 election, a woman was arrested for having like 5,000 ballots. There was election fraud. I mean, I think that even the Democrats will acknowledge that election fraud does happen. So to dismiss people who have a claim, whether or not it's true or not.
No one is talking about individual claims of election fraud. Donald Trump said there was a top-down plan by the Democratic Party to rig the election. Well, doesn't seem like that ever materialized anywhere.
I think that a lot of that comes from the pipes bursting and people pulling out boxes and all that stuff.
Yeah, all of that was fake. They lied about all of that. They lied about all of that.
It was on video. I mean, what about them covering? They were covering up the windows at the polling station.
So like on the pipes bursting and the boxes under the table, it was on video, but they cut the part where the boxes that were pulled out from under the table were just put there under the table from the lady.
You have the truck drivers admitting that they were taking ballots from state to state. There was a lot of stuff.
And why did none of it pan out in court? Notice how you don't know the specifics on any of this. Like I've listened to a lot of these cases. I can show you. We can watch the full videos right now in Georgia if you want over those ballot boxes appearing from under the table. Like none of this is true. You've just been lied to because you consume conservative media without questioning it.
Sure. Yeah. Thank you for telling me how I think. Look, I think that we should move on because relitigating the 2020 election doesn't have anything to do with Trump's success in the first 6 months. So,
okay. You said you moved on from it, but you still don't even believe in the results of the election, which I would say is like immediately disqualifying from having any opinion about U.S. politics, but including for the president of the United States. But yeah.
Okay. Yeah, let's focus on Trump's second term, since that was the debate proposition.
Yeah, yeah. So again, all right. So we went through the GDP growth and the inflation. Now, how do you feel about the border?
I don't think Destiny ever got a chance to respond to that because
he said inflation's going up, and
I think inflation right now is at 2.7%. I think was the last number I saw.
What was the average of inflation during the Biden administration?
I don't know. Probably quite high post-COVID, I would imagine.
So it's gone down then. From the Biden administration. Or let's go with 6 months. So what was it in January, and what is it now?
I can look it up.
I'm sure
that would be the metric to how I would measure.
No matter how much Trump messes things up, it's going to be better than post-COVID, right? Post-COVID, the entire world was experiencing inflation. Are you saying that was like?
Let's not do post-COVID. Let's do from the first 6 months when he entered office on January 20th. What was inflation? I mean, I'll look that up right now. If inflation was higher than 2.7% on January 20th, would you agree that means inflation is down?
Well, definitionally so, sure.
Okay. So if inflation is down in his first 6 months, wouldn't you also categorize that as a success?
So inflation, I just looked this up. Inflation is down by a very small amount. It used to be 6 months ago was 2.9%.
Sure.
Now it's 2.7%. So
all right. So down is down. So that's I would say that's a win, right? I mean, and again, we're measuring something that does move up and down, and I mean, I wouldn't say that we can really hold you to that, but that's just one point. GDP hitting 3%, I think is also up from 6 months ago.
I mean, we had our first quarter was a GDP contraction, which is completely and totally insane given the economy that he inherited. I don't know why we would ever consider GDP growth a success right now when the first quarter was a contraction.
You think that Donald Trump inherited a good economy?
Yes, of course.
How? Why?
What, because inflation had been basically brought down from all the COVID stuff, because we had a ton of major legislative packages in place that was stimulating the economy, things like the CHIPS Act, things that he's trying to take credit for now, things like the Inflation Reduction, the IRA, the Inflation Reduction Act, which was like a ton of investment in infrastructure, things like the American Rescue Plan, which shored up budgets between every single state and gave them big bailouts. Yeah.
So, all right, here, this is what I have a hard time wrapping my head around the argument that COVID lasted 4 years, right? The effects of COVID lasted 4 years or even 3 years. I mean, Biden had inflation at 9%, and I want to say that was in, June of 2019? No, yeah, was it? It might have been, I think it was 19, and I could be wrong, but it was at 9%.
Wait,
somewhere in
let
the
me just,
middle.
I'm trying to wrap my head around the timeline. In June of 2019, Biden had inflation.
I want to say it was June of 19. It might have been 20.
Okay. You understand
sorry,
that
no.
Donald Trump
20
was president for both of those years, right?
I'm sorry. I'm an idiot. I'm really an idiot. I swear to God, dude. This is why I shouldn't do shit off of memory. 22, not 19. I think it was 22. I don't know why I was saying 19, but June of 2022. If you can you want to look that up. I think that was June of 22, not 19. But either way, inflation was at 9% under the Biden administration, and I think it was about basically 2 years after we already reopened the country. So I don't see how COVID is responsible for 9% inflation years after COVID was essentially already dealt with.
I mean, shut down the whole global economy, shut down for 6 months. You don't think that? Do you think that all the other countries that were experiencing inflation, do you think all those other countries were because of Biden, or?
I don't think that I think that they had, a lot of them had better numbers than we did.
No, the United States came out on top. In 2022, was there another big global event that also might have caused some inflation to happen, especially related to food, related to Ukraine and Russia? Didn't a war start there as well?
Okay, so again, you're saying that Biden gave Donald Trump a good economy while simultaneously saying that during the Biden administration, inflation went up for whatever reason. You can make excuses for it, but Biden gave Trump a good economy after under Biden, the economy was bad.
I don't know if I would say the economy was necessarily bad. We had a lot of inflation, but the inflation was a byproduct of a lot of the government spending and a lot of the stuff that we had to do to keep everything kind of afloat so that people weren't literally losing their homes and on the streets starving during COVID, right?
So then let's blame COVID. But
hold on, wait. Do you acknowledge that there was a lot of government spending that we needed to do under COVID?
Yeah, I think that we did a lot of government spending under COVID.
And you acknowledge that, like, for the most part, we came out of COVID pretty decently, right? People weren't all on the streets starving to death. Like, everybody had food. Like, people that are doing work from home made out okay, right?
I think a lot of the COVID response, a lot of the initial COVID response is the reason for that. Like, Operation Warp Speed and Donald Trump cutting red tape and bureaucracy so that we didn't have the pandemic, blown out way past it when it should have been.
So I think the huge part of that was probably the American Rescue Plan. I think it was a massive stimulus that helped. That was a Biden tier thing. But like, this stuff is probably going to contribute to inflation as well as supply chain shocks as well, right? The rest of the world experiences as well, right? How can we say that it was Biden that caused all of the inflation when the rest of the world was also having these issues?
Okay, so here's where my side gets a little hazy with it's all right. So everything Obama did, Obama gave Trump a good economy, and Trump fucked it up for Biden, but then it was actually COVID, and then Biden gave Trump a good economy. You see how, like, there's never any accountability for the things that happen under your administrations. Like, the bad things that's happened under your administrations are the previous administration's fault if it's a different person, if it's Trump.
Rather than just going off of heuristics, we could look at factually what actually happened. Was there a massive worldwide financial event that happened right before Obama came into office? Yeah,
so this is what I'm saying. You're always going to find a reason to blame something else other than your own leadership.
Sure. So then, what was the massive? What happened? What happened before Bush? When Bush came into office, what did Clinton mess up?
All I'm saying. Let's simplify this. All I'm saying is Trump's numbers go down. You
No,
credit
let's not
Biden.
simplify. Let's talk about the
Right?
facts. Let's actually talk about like the factual matters of what happened,
Okay,
right?
are there any other reasons why the economy has come down? Why inflation has come down over the past 6 months, other than Biden gave Trump a good economy?
Well, no, I don't think that had much to do with inflation. I think the reason why inflation is down is probably because the Federal Reserve is stuck to their guns and keeping the rates up. Although Trump is trying to undo that and has been desperately trying to undo that as well. He was trying to do it at the end of his last administration. He's trying to undo it now.
Inflation might even come down even lower.
Inflation is still above target, right? Its target is 2%, and it's still above target, right?
Yeah. All right. So under Donald Trump's
So inflation is above target. The Fed is trying to keep inflation down, and Donald Trump wants to undo what the Fed is doing, right? You acknowledge that, right?
Under Donald Trump's first term, inflation never hit 3%. Right?
Okay.
It never even touched it.
True.
Okay?
Do you acknowledge Donald Trump was fighting with the Federal Reserve to lower rates under his thing as well? That he also didn't like the high rates then?
I'm just saying, I don't understand. You guys just don't see pattern recognition. Like, you don't understand, like, Donald Trump's first term, inflation was down pretty much the whole time, right? And then he comes in and inflation starts going down. And you give credit for his whole first term.
No, inflation has been going down since 2022. You think inflation was high and then it just started going down under Trump?
Yeah, it went down from 9%. And, you talk about this whole
Wait, do you think inflation was at 9% in 2023 and in 2024?
No, I think it was in 2022, like I said.
Yes, and it was coming down.
I fucked up the numbers
That's fine, but it was coming down under Biden in 2023 and in 2024. It continued to come down in 2025, right?
It also went up under Biden. It went up all the way from, I think it was like 1.9 to fucking 9, right? So you can blame that on the Russia-Ukraine war, but the Russia-Ukraine war probably wouldn't have even happened if Trump was in office.
Why? I mean, what would Trump have done to stop it? He's shown that he has zero ability to stop anything.
You know what Putin didn't do under Trump's first term? Invade fucking Ukraine. You know what he did under Biden and Obama? Invade fucking Ukraine.
You understand that in Trump's first term, there were literally active fights happening in Ukraine with Russian troops. That was literally happening in the Donbass under Trump the entire time. Nothing changed.
Yeah, there's conflict going on over there, but that wasn't a war. That wasn't an invasion.
It literally was an invasion. They had, like, Donetsk and Luhansk have been invaded. There's been a war there for since 2014 that Russia has been funding and sending troops into for. Yes.
Okay. All right. Well, let's
notice how when Donald Trump is president now, notice how he hasn't done anything to stop the fighting, despite him saying he'd end the war on day one.
Okay,
you recognize that's like a failure, right? That he said he'd end it on day one, and he hasn't gotten any closer to ending it, right? In 9 months.
I think most people took that as hyperbole, and
hyperbole for what? So from day one to day infinity? Why would you
guys? Did you guys really think that on January 21st the war was going to be over?
Why would Donald Trump lie?
It's not a lie. It's called hyperbole. It's just inflate. It's what Donald Trump does this.
Okay, what was he Yes, he lies a lot. I agree.
Are you going to take that literally? Were you really under the notion that Donald Trump was saying, "I'm going to come in on January 20th, and by January 21st, everybody in the world is going to stop fighting"? That's retarded, man. Like, don't.
Okay, wait. Then why was he not being hyperbolic when he was saying Putin wouldn't have started this war if I was president for another 4 years?
Well, because the evidence shows that Putin didn't start fucking wars when he was in office. Putin does not want to go and start a war while Trump has all the cards, but he started a war because Biden was a weak, feckless leader, and Putin knew he could get away with it.
Okay, no one else in the world views Trump that way. Everybody knows that Trump is weak and feckless. That's why Putin has continued to bomb. That's why Trump,
the 77 million people that voted for him.
The rest of the world. Do you remember when Trump was truthing out how upset that he was that Putin continued to bomb Ukraine after every time they'd have a talk? Why do you think Trump was truthing that out?
Trump is tough on Putin, but he's also.
Wait. Do you acknowledge that he truthed out that he was crying that Putin was still attacking Ukraine after they'd had meetings?
Yeah, but this is what I don't understand, where it's like Trump is a Putin puppet, but he's also critical and tough on Putin.
He's not tough. He's not tough
People
on
on the left don't really argue that anymore. That was like a.
Well, hold on. How has he been tough on Putin?
He just gave, I don't know, I think we're almost at the deadline. He gave Putin 10 days or something like that to come to the table and make a deal. They're sitting down right now.
How many times has he done this already? Like 5 or 10 times come to the table?
Do you really think that Biden had, how many years did this war go on under Joe Biden and he didn't end it? So, I mean, are you saying that wars can just end, like if the American president says so?
That's what Donald Trump said, didn't he?
No, but I'm saying, like, are you making that argument?
No, I would
Right?
never be
Like,
stupid to make that argument. But Donald Trump
Okay.
did make that argument, which is why I'm saying it's a failure that he didn't end it. He said he would end Israel-Palestine on day one. He said he would end Ukraine-Russia on day one. He's no closer to
Okay,
ending
so-
either one.
So he's negotiated in the conflicts of Azerbaijan and Armenia, though that war ended, right?
Yeah, wars start and end. There was like a mini genocide there. I don't know
So
how
again-
that's a pro for him.
Again, right? We don't give Trump credit when he does negotiate a war, but we criticize him that he can't end all wars with a phone call, right? It's like, I mean,
he's the one who said he was going to end it on day one. He didn't. That's a failure.
again, if you are taking that literally,
I do take
then
my president
you're-
literally and seriously. Yes, I think you should.
Yeah,
Otherwise, the word of the U.S. president means nothing. Yeah.
So you literally thought that he was saying, "I'm going to end the war on day one."
Yes, that's what he said, and that is what he meant. He said it over and over and over again. Yeah.
I think you're a simpleton if you believe that.
Okay.
Right? Like,
Maybe
I think
President
that
Trump shouldn't make those promises then.
I think everyone on the right understood that he meant very quickly.
Oh,
right?
very
And
quickly. What? So if it's not over by midterms, would you acknowledge that he's failed there? What does very quickly mean?
I think that if it's not over by the midterms, I will agree with you. That is a failure. He should be able to end it by then. But you know what? It's like, this war is very profitable for both sides, and Putin doesn't give a shit about his citizens. He is throwing dead bodies at this thing. Zelensky wants this war to continue.
I don't
because he
think
can
either
remain in
side is
power.
profiting from this war. No, I think it's
Oh,
very
come on.
detrimental to both times.
The military-industrial complex gets rich and lines the pockets of both sides, and don't even.
The
pretend that you
military-industrial
don't-
complex is a small part of the economy, depending upon which countries you're
Yeah,
talking
dude.
about. I don't
I'm
think. Do you think
talking
that
about-
Ukraine is better off economically than they were
I'm
before
talking
the
about
war?
I'm talking about corruption, right? There is an incentive for war. It is why they happen. A lot, except for the one in Israel, which is a spiritual war, which is like a holy war. Most wars, they continue this long because somebody's making money. And if you can't acknowledge
The wars
that,
haven't
then
even
I
been
don't know
going
what
on
to
for
tell you.
that long. If you're going by the invasion point as a starting point, it's been a few years.
Okay, so you're agreeing that 6 months is not that long of a time to try and end a war.
I'm not the one who claimed I would end it on day one.
Again, hyperbole, but okay.
Right, I feel like
Let's
I
move
want
on.
to get back to guys. I want to get back to economics because I feel like that hasn't been fleshed out. So Misfit, you did make a point that inflation went a bit down in the last 6 months, which is true.
Yeah.
Also, jobs did go down. So in December, there was 250K jobs created. It's still in July, I believe it was 70K. So you both have like a little bit of I don't know, different metrics. So I wanted to see you guys discuss that.
Let's talk about jobs, okay? And thank you for helping us move on from that because it was getting ridiculous. The U.S. has gained 10,000 manufacturing jobs in Trump's first full month in office, right? After losing an average of 9,000 manufacturing jobs per month in the final year of the Biden administration. The creation of 671,000 new jobs, which is attributed to extending the TCJA and making sure that all those jobs weren't going to be lost. I'm just looking through my little notes here, but I think that with those two alone. Right. Would you say that Trump has successfully created more jobs in the first 6 months than Biden? I guess because that's the comparison.
Almost certainly not, but that's not really a fair comparison for you. You're always going to lose there because coming out of the
COVID.
Yeah. So that's always so Biden's going to slaughter Trump on any job related stuff. But when it comes to manufacturing,
it wouldn't be attributed to Biden.
Okay. Well, yeah,
so
I wouldn't do that. But wait, you
recognize
recognize I'm being fair there, right? Because I'm saying that inflation was high as a result of COVID. So like, I'm not going to say that that's Biden's fault, but I would also say like massive growths in jobs after the recovery. I'm not going to say like, oh my God, he created tens of millions of jobs. That's also like recovery from the recession. So I'm being fair on both sides of that, right? I'm not just trying to claim victory on one and not the other, like you just tried to do by saying that we can't give him credit for the job stuff, but we can blame him for the inflation, right?
Would you say creating 671,000 new jobs through a mixture of tariffs, GDP, and the TCJA is a success or a failure?
I don't think that any of those three things create more jobs in the United States. So
the economic impact from the extensions, the tariffs, and the numbers are real. So the 671,000 new jobs that have been created, which most economists are contributing to those three factors, right? Would you say
How do tariffs create jobs? Can you explain that to me?
well, they've brought in about $100 billion in revenue. So
That's just a
more
tax on the
revenue.
un-American manufacturers. Yeah, I understand
Yeah,
that.
it's not a tax. There is no a tariff is not a tax.
Tariff is an
This
import
topic-
tax, right?
it's not a tax on the American, right? An American doesn't pay a tariff. You're
Who
saying
pays a
that
tariff?
you're saying that it trickles down to the American.
No,
because
I'm not saying it trickles down. I'm saying
No,
literally, it's an import tax. That's a tariff. What's the difference between a tariff and an import tax?
Hold on. You're saying that the American citizen gets a tariff tax, right? Like it says tariff tax, or are you saying that?
Yeah,
we
like
pay
if you've
through-
ever imported something before, it's on the bill as an import tax. It's literally, legitimately what it is. Yes.
I'm talking about consumers. I'm talking.
Well, a
about the
consumer might not necessarily see import tax without shipping things in, but it'll be the manufacturer. It'll be the American manufacturer that sees it. Yeah.
American manufacturing companies would have to pay a tariff. Yes, I agree there. So we were talking about two different things. On the average American, though, we're not paying the tariffs. So we're not paying taxes on those. But a lot of people make this false claim, like, oh, it's a tax that's rolled over onto the consumer. That's what I thought you were referring to.
Well, I mean, American manufacturers are still Americans, right?
Yes, the manufacturing companies, if they want to continue to do business, but they also don't have to pay the taxes if they just don't do business there. They can do business other places.
That's fine, but you said that. I'm just saying that when we say that we've made $100 billion in tariff or whatever, that's just a tax increase on local businesses. That's all that is.
Again, I'm just quoting from the which source is this? I believe this is from I think this is from The Hill, I believe.
Are you talking about Trump's first or second term, just to clarify?
First term. The TCJA, I think this is from The Hill. The TCJA extension and tariffs contribute to reported economic growth. Then they cite 3% GDP, 671,000 jobs through tariffs. Though they do say tariffs do risk higher consumer prices. So that's why I was getting confused, because I was conflating what you were saying with what my notes are saying.
So the Trump tax cuts might lead to some more economic activity. You'd expect it to, right? It's a ton of deficit spending by the government. So that's, of course, going to lead to greater economic activity. But the tariffs are a tax on imports. So that's just money that American citizens are paying to the government.
Yeah, only if they continue to do business with people that are ripping off America. They can also not pay that tax.
They could, but they paid $100 billion of it, according to you. Well, then that's an import tax. Yes,
but they're choosing to pay that tax.
That's fine. Sure, that's great that they're choosing. I'm just saying it is a tax. It's an import tax. Yes.
Yeah. So it's not like when the federal government forces you to pay taxes on something, like they just raise your taxes, right? It's like that's where I think that there's a lot of confusion. Maybe not with you and me, with a lot of people.
Well, I mean, what do you mean? They're choosing. I mean, you could just choose to work less. You wouldn't have to pay so much in income taxes. No.
Sure. Exactly. Yeah. No. It's definitely going to hurt companies that want to do business with countries that are taking advantage of us.
Well, with any countries that we import anything from, right?
If those countries are, like China and other countries who let's use the
well, it's every country around the world, isn't it? Right now we have global tariffs.
Countries who are not paying their fair share, right, are being punished.
That doesn't make any. Paying their fair share for what? For exporting stuff to us?
Yeah, I mean, well, they've been taking advantage of us and charging us these ridiculous tariffs.
They haven't been charging us tariffs. That's not true. That's not where any of our tariffs came from.
All Trump has done with his tariff plan is go reciprocal. And
he hasn't, though, but that's just a total lie, right?
Most of it's not even reciprocal.
How does that that doesn't make sense? Like in the UK, there are countries we had trade like surpluses with, and we still put tariffs on them. So how do you explain that as being a reciprocal tariff?
He did the same thing to Israel too, because he's just going across the board.
So across the board, so they're not reciprocal. These are just none of these tariffs are reciprocal, right?
The tariffs which are estimated to have brought in.
Hold on, wait. Let's see if we can agree on this one point. None of these tariffs are reciprocal, right? You can choose a single country if you want. We can look it up. There's none of these countries had tariffs on us that were reciprocating what we are putting on them now. None of these, not a single one was.
I would have to. I mean, he's got 30 to 54% on China, Canada 35%, Mexico 25%, and the EU 15%. And between those four, we're generating $90 to $150 billion in revenue.
And import taxes, yes, yeah.
So,
but Mexico didn't have tariffs on us, right? We don't have reciprocal tariffs on. We just put tariffs on them. They didn't have tariffs on us before, right?
So this, I actually said when I was making that statement, they're not really reciprocal.
Oh, okay. They're just tariffs.
I literally said, I go, he's doing reciprocal, which are not reciprocal. I said it before you interrupted.
Okay.
So no, they're not reciprocal in the sense of the word.
Do you acknowledge that Trump lied when he called them reciprocal, or is that more hyperbole then?
I mean, I don't know. I don't know why he called them reciprocal. It's not a good move.
Sure. So he lied about that. That's okay though.
Yeah. Okay. Let's go. Sure.
Okay.
Trump lied about the word reciprocal, and he did not apply it reciprocally. So that is a lie from Donald Trump. Bad Trump.
When he said he could get 90 deals in 90 days, that also seems to not be true.
But would you agree? Would you agree that the revenue, the $90 to $150 billion in revenue that we're generating just from these four countries is a benefit which would hopefully offset some of the costs that these companies are paying, because it will incentivize them to work in America, and B, bringing money back into our country would hopefully increase production, and trickle-down economics would take effect.
No.
Okay, so you disagree. So tariffs aren't a good thing, even though they've brought in over $100 billion.
Why do you keep saying that just because they brought in $100 billion, they're good? Like, we could just raise taxes and bring in $100 billion. Would you say that's good?
Well, raising taxes is forcing people to pay something.
Mm-hmm.
Donald Trump is giving people a choice. If you want to work with these countries, cool. You can pay those taxes because those countries are being taxed. Trump is taxing the people who are doing business with those countries. That is a choice that they are making.
Sure, but there's no way for a lot of these companies to even do business in the United States. Like, this manufacturing doesn't even exist in the U.S. You have to buy from other countries.
Okay, well, speaking of manufacturing, I have one right here where, oh, great, I lost it. I believe with manufacturing, one second, apologies. I just gave too many bullet points, and that's why I probably shouldn't. I want to say it was, yeah. So, I already said, 10,000 manufacturing jobs, $285 million investment in U.S. electrical product manufacturing.
You know, for manufacturing, like, we've lost manufacturing jobs steadily since Trump has been in office, right? They've just been going down.
In the first 6 months, because the manufacturing, it takes 6 months to just put the infrastructure together.
Well, no, it takes like 10 years. So we're not going to see any.
I'm saying it would take like if you wanted to build a plant in America, if you wanted to move your country, and I mean, we already have, what was it? Was it GE? I think it was GE is bringing their factories here. And there's a couple other companies are bringing their factories here, and they're going to start now building in America again. Are you saying that it's a bad thing that these companies are now they're now bringing their jobs back to America? Or you think it's
first of all, our unemployment is already low in America, so I don't know who's going to work these jobs. Number one, number two, a lot of these companies are moving stuff here. We're doing it because of the CHIPS Act under Biden, not because of these crazy tariffs from Trump. And number three, if you really want big capex, if you want investment in the United States, you need some stable way to do it, and tariffs that are unilaterally issued from the president's office with no trade deals, no involvement from Congress is the worst way to do it. People are just waiting basically for Trump to welch on all of them, like he keeps doing over and over again. I think he just did it today again with China, or for the next president to come in and just get rid of all of them.
So you're just making another assumption.
Wait. What assumption do you think I just made? That was an unfair assumption.
You say Trump is just going to welch.
Has he not over and over again delayed the massive tariffs? Are you saying that that's not true?
So...
That's a simple yes or no question. Has he delayed putting on the big tariffs on China multiple times so far?
Yes.
Okay.
As a negotiation tactic. Again, so like...
Wait, why'd you just say I made an unfair assumption when he's done it multiple times?
Yeah, but you're calling it welching as opposed to what I think a lot of people on my side think and acknowledge, which is it's a negotiation tactic.
I understand you guys acknowledge that and I think that, but it's with no foundation. Trump has negotiated nothing in his 5 years as being president of the United States, right?
Trump is known as the great negotiator. Every single person. So
yeah. What is one thing that Trump negotiated for America in the 5 years he spent as president? A single good deal.
Well, he negotiated a bunch of hostage releases. That actually helped.
He said he would get all of them. They still have some there. So he hasn't even gotten all the hostages from Hamas.
If Trump isn't perfect, then...
It's not about perfect. You said he was the great negotiator. I'm saying in 5 years, what has Trump negotiated?
You hold Trump to the standard of perfection, right? Where if like he can't say hyperbole, he can't say anything that can be even.
He needs to be honest. He needs to not lie.
I mean, like again, see, lying and hyperbole. It's like you're basically saying that he has to
be truthful. Yes.
Every single time he speaks, if you can contextualize it in a negative way, you will, right?
I'm just asking what deals Trump has negotiated for America if he's such a great negotiator.
This is actually an important point because this is the way, the method of thinking on your side.
Yeah.
Right? When Trump says, I'm going to end the war on day one, his supporters do not think that he is going to end the war on day one because we have common sense and deductive reasoning. And we go,
nobody said that before he came into office, just to be clear.
Yeah, he's being hyperbolic. Obviously, there is no way within 24 hours of moving into the White House, he's going to end the war in Ukraine.
I mean, he literally was taking credit for ending the Israeli-Gaza war because of Witkoff going and talking to them prior to him stepping into office. He said he ended it before day zero, and that ceasefire fell apart. So, but maybe he was just being hyperbolic in all of these things, or you just don't know about any of it because you're only watching conservative news.
Yeah, so what I'm saying is, right, now we know, we have common sense. We know that Trump said, yes, he said, I'm going to end it on day one. I think that most of us thought, and still think, he meant he's going to start the negotiations and get to the process of ending it.
Okay.
Right?
But he hasn't started negotiations on either of these things, right? He's not any closer.
He literally just met with Putin. He said that he was going to...
Yeah, for like the 10th time. Are we any closer to figuring anything out there?
How many times did Biden meet with Putin?
Not at all, but because he's smart enough to know that Putin isn't somebody to be negotiated with on the
So Biden didn't negotiate at all. That's your boy. He didn't negotiate at all, and you think that's a good thing. And you think it's a bad thing that Trump is negotiating too much?
Trump hasn't negotiated at all. He's being a weak man.
What do you mean?
As in, he keeps going there, making these public capitulations, and then he blows up on Truth Social the day later when Putin starts bombing Ukraine again. It makes him look like a loser.
Yeah, Putin's a cunt. But
no,
I mean,
Trump is a loser. Everybody knows that Putin is a cunt, but Trump is being a little boy. He's being a loser. He's being dog walked by Putin over and over again, right?
So Biden wasn't dog walked by Putin.
Absolutely not. Putin hated Biden because Biden was a huge thorn in his side because he got the whole world to support Ukraine initially in the fight against Russia.
So Putin's been continuously killing thousands of people every week. And that's dog walking Biden. Biden didn't even try to negotiate at all.
Because Biden knew you can't negotiate against Russia like that. You have to bring them to the table
you throw $250 billion at their adversary, which does absolutely fucking nothing to end the war. The war's still going on.
You don't think it helped them at all? You think that Ukraine would be in the same position now if they had no support or funding from the United States or the rest of Europe?
I'm saying that if you negotiate...
No. You said that it didn't help at all. Did it help or did it not help?
Well, the war is still going on, so it didn't help.
If the war had ended a year ago with Russia winning completely, would that be preferential? And that would be preferential to the state of affairs now?
No, but the war would be over, correct?
Yeah, but the war ending isn't necessarily a good thing if it ends with Russia winning completely.
Biden's solution to ending the war was throwing money at one side.
It was allowing Ukraine to fight against Russia because you don't want Russia to invade countries and steal their territory. Yes.
So our tax dollars, right, which were continuously sent over without our permission, right, to a war in another country, was not negotiated on at all. So first,
it was literally part of congressional legislation. What are you talking about? We had to do this border bill and hold it up for all this other stuff so it was voted on by Congress. I don't know what you mean by that.
Voted on by Congress. What I'm saying, I mean, I didn't. That's not what I didn't vote for Congress to send my money to.
Welcome to a representative democracy where you have members in Congress that vote for things. Yeah,
I understand, and I didn't bitch about it too hard, right? I mean, maybe a little bit, but what I'm saying is, if your first step to ending a war is throwing my money at it before you even try to negotiate, you're fucking up, and that's not
what. How could you? What would you have negotiated with Putin after he invades?
Oh my God! You just said Trump is negotiating with Putin.
No,
right?
he's not. He has nothing to negotiate. He goes and he has meetings when he gets nothing done, and then he comes back and then he truths out some stuff because he's mad because Putin keeps bombing them.
So that's diplomacy. That Trump is doing diplomacy.
Diplomacy is when you talk to the enemy and get nothing done, and he keeps doing the exact same thing he was doing before, and then you get mad at him.
How do you know he's getting nothing done? How do you know each of these meetings aren't getting us one step closer to ending the war and stopping 7,000 civilian soldiers, people, human beings from dying every week?
Because if
So I
it was
don't
getting
understand.
something done, Trump wouldn't be raging out on social media after Putin keeps bombing things afterwards. Nothing's happening. We can just look at the map.
Once again, right? Once again, you think if Donald Trump is going to a meeting and he doesn't on the first try get Putin to say, "Okay, you win," then that's not a
How
negotiation.
about the 5th try or the 10th try? How many tries does he get?
Well, he's only, like I said, he's only been in his office 6 months, and you just said that's not even 3 years is not a long time.
True, but
to
Trump
have-
said he would end it on day 1, so I just didn't know what he meant by that. I
Again,
guess I should have.
You can keep going. You can keep going.
I know
back to
it's
that.
really hard when you quote what the
You go-
president himself says. It makes it really
No,
hard
it's-
to defend him. I understand that.
I've already explained it to you like a fucking child, and you keep doing it.
Yeah.
It's like,
How many Republicans? I'm curious. If we were to bet $50,
said-
if we were to bet
Trump said day
$50,
one.
how many Republicans in the media were saying Trump is being hyperbolic
But
right now before Trump get into office? How many people were saying he's being hyperbolic?
This is what
Zero.
I said
The
in
answer is zero.
This is,
Yeah.
this is what I said in my opening statement. You were going to revert to talking points because
I'm not giving you
can't
talking
actually
points.
make-
I've made plenty of points.
Donald Trump said he would end it on day one. Donald Trump said he would.
That's
end
me
it on day
quoting
one.
the president of the
Donald
United States. You
Trump
think
said
that's
he
a
would end it on
talking
day one.
point?
Yeah. No actual critical thinker that's watching this debate is thinking that you're arguing in good faith on that. They think that you are weaponizing and taking out of context words.
Okay,
It's what
I'm just
you are- 'cause
curious.
It's what you are doing.
So when Scott Adams, okay, huge Trump supporter, was saying this online, that Trump could end the war in 24 hours, that he was being hyperbolic, that he didn't think that actually happened. When Jack Posobiec, who I think is like working now in government positions, when he's saying, quote, "I will work with Ukraine and Russia to end the war in 24 hours," as the Bible says, "Blessed are the peace." Do you think he was being hyperbolic? Or when Benny Johnson here is saying, "I want everybody to stop dying, Russians, Ukrainians, and I'll have that done in 24 hours," and everybody's clapping. All these people, I can find you more tweets about all these
Okay,
conservative
hold on.
commentators were all being hyperbolic?
No, they're retarded. Benny Johnson.
Oh, okay.
Benny Johnson, Jack Posobiec, whatever, is retarded. They are clickbait clout chasers on the right.
Who's one that wasn't retarded? Give me one that wasn't retarded. Just one
Well, I
conservative
mean,
commentator who's not retarded.
These people are doing this for clicks. They are sensationalists.
Sure. So
right?
give me one who's
they're-
not.
So they're going to take what Donald Trump said and sensationalize it, just like you're doing.
Well,
You're
no, they're just quoting him
sensationalizing.
verbatim. They're quoting him verbatim.
No,
Now, that might be
you're-
sensationalizing it for you, but they're just quoting him verbatim.
No, you are both doing the same thing. You are taking hyperbole, putting it into literal terms, and sensationalizing it to paint your own narrative, like for your own reasons.
Sure. And my
Right?
narrative is just like Donald Trump's own words.
Oh my God.
Can you
Sorry,
give me,
we can let this part go
what's
for
one,
another
I just want to know
2 minutes,
what's one
but then I wanna
conservative
get
that we
back.
trust? What's one conservative that was saying beforehand, well, he's just being hyperbolic? What's a single conservative that we think was saying that? Anybody in the news on the conservative side we trust, or?
Do you think I have a database of everything everybody said in like throughout time in here? I don't know.
Well, apparently you have a database to know that Benny Johnson and Jack Posobiec are all like clowns. So I'm just curious, what's one conservative commentator that you
because
trust?
I know who they are.
Sure. Who's one you trust?
There's conservative commentators. Dan Bongino does a great job of covering things pretty fairly, and I don't think that he ever said Donald Trump would end the war in 24 hours. But if he did, then he was wrong.
Okay.
So
All right, let's redirect because we've spent a lot of time arguing about whether hyperbole or how seriously you should take Trump. I do think it's very important that we cover ICE and everything related to immigration. But
I was actually It's
But first, let's make sure that we've covered everything economically. I want to give you guys both a chance to make any more economic arguments that you have.
Okay, so again, my argument is that the addition of 671,000 jobs, the 3% GDP growth, and I know you guys are saying 2.7, but I believe the number in July, which was just like last week, was 2.1. But I'll concede the 2.7, right? I think that those are successes, and I think anyone who says that they are not successes is being intellectually dishonest, because it is a massive number of job creation in 6 months, and I believe that those numbers, the other two numbers, are going in the right directions.
Weren't the job creation things so bad that Donald Trump had to fire the labor secretary for the Bureau of Labor Statistics?
The Bureau of Labor's what because they were inflating the numbers or something like
because
that?
Because when the numbers got revised downwards, Donald Trump accused them of cooking the books, and so he fired his.
They revised, because the revisions that they kept on doing were inaccurate. So if
how could he possibly know they were inaccurate?
I don't know. He fired them for not doing their job.
Do you think it's more common that he just fired them because he just didn't like what they were saying?
Or hear me out. I know this is a crazy concept. He fired them because they were putting out inaccurate numbers that they had.
This is his government. How is he supposed to know if not by trusting the people in his cabinet?
Did he? So he hires people, right? Then they don't do their job, and
how does he know they didn't do the job?
Because they had to keep revising the
numbers are revised all the time. That's how it works.
Yeah, but he doesn't want that. He wants it to be more accurate.
That's not how it works. That's not how you collect these numbers. There's always revisions.
Under the Biden administration, the numbers always had to be revised in the direction that was making that.
Numbers are revised up and down all the time. Yeah, it happens.
Okay. Can we?
I'm just asking, how can he possibly know if the numbers are right or wrong if he's not trusting his own data people?
We're going to be here all night if we spend 30 minutes on one topic. So,
well, I do want to cover economics because it's really important. So let's let this play out a little bit longer.
Okay.
I'm just curious, how can Donald Trump, if he doesn't trust his own government to tell him the right numbers, how could he possibly know what the right numbers are?
I believe the reasons that Trump gave for firing the head of the Labor Bureau of Statistics was because of the numbers that they were putting out were factually inaccurate.
Yeah, but I'm asking, how can he know they were factually inaccurate?
You would have to ask him.
Okay, that's okay. All right.
What do you mean? Like
he has a guy. This is my job numbers guy, and then the job numbers guy gives him job numbers. He goes, I don't think those are real, and he fires him. I'm asking you, how can he know what the job numbers are if he fires his job numbers guy?
Because is there like another source maybe? Where
no, there's not. He fired him because he wasn't happy with it. He just wanted them to be hired. That's it. That's the obvious answer. It's so obvious, and that's why this guy's twisting himself into a pretzel to try to figure out.
Okay, so he fires people when he thinks they're not doing their job. Right?
He fires people when he's not getting the answer that he wants from them.
Fine, fair. That's your opinion, but okay, that's his right. He's the fucking president.
Okay, that's fine, but then be honest about it. He fired because he didn't like the numbers, not because he think they're wrong.
I didn't elect the chair of the fucking labor statistics. I elected Donald Trump. If Donald Trump wants to hire a cabinet member and fire a cabinet member every week for the next 4 years, I'm okay with it as long as in total, the country is doing well.
Sure, you shouldn't be okay with that because that shows a massive inability to lead. If you're having to fire and rehire for the same position every week, it shows that you're a failure of a leader.
You know how many people I run a business? Do you?
Yes.
Okay. How many people have you fired?
I don't know. I don't know. 10, 20. It depends on what counts as a fire or not.
I fired in about 10 years, right? I fired probably 60 or 70 people, right? So, because I get these guys who I work construction, right? I get a guy, he works out great for a couple of weeks, and then he starts showing up late.
We're not talking about that. You're talking about you firing and rehiring like the COO of your company.
What I'm saying is, I don't need a reason, right? And neither does Trump. If I don't think you're doing your job, you're fired, right?
Okay,
but if you're having to fire and rehire like high-level positions over and over and over again, you're probably doing something bad there. My guess is you have the most stability around these positions.
Let's pose the question like this to both of you. I think
just real quick to wrap this up. Trump has a high standard, right? As do I, right? Trump has a high standard. If you don't meet it, you're fired. He literally had a whole entire fucking show where the theme was you're fired. Trump is doing Trump, and I don't understand why people think that's a bad thing. I want my president to have ridiculously high standards.
If you had ridiculously high standards, you wouldn't hire incompetent people in the first place. You had to fire.
Biden hired incompetent people.
We're not talking about Biden right now. We're talking about Trump right now. If you're hiring and firing people constantly, and you want to talk about competence, it seems like half the people's hiring are from Fox News. You had the massive Signal chat leak from Hegseth. That was an embarrassment. You had a second Signal chat leak that was insane. Bongino said we were going to get Epstein files. Bondi gave the whole Epstein files part 1, and nothing came from that. Like, what do you mean? These are not the most competent people ever. This is insane.
So did Pete Hegseth leak the chat?
No, but he was part of it. It was his department.
But Pete Hegseth didn't leak the chat.
No, it was somebody underneath him.
So how does that make Pete Hegseth incompetent?
You said you have a business, right?
Yeah.
If somebody on a construction site fucks up hardcore, do you talk to the guy individually, or do you talk to the supervisor?
Yeah, the staffer who leaked the chat was immediately fired, and then his superior resigned. So they're gone.
Do you think the fact that Pete Hegseth was in Signal chats, knowing
he was in a chat?
He was in Signal chats. Yeah, you're not supposed to be conducting government business there.
I think they did. They said that there was no impropriety to have the
you think talking about an upcoming attack on Yemen that was like scheduled for 12 hours from now, you don't think that was an improper thing to be having in an unsecured chat?
I mean, it was Signal. It was I probably wouldn't, but
I'm not asking what you would do. I'm saying, is this not improper? You can't even admit to this. It's crazy.
No. They already. If they're in a Signal chat and they're sharing information, which a Signal is encrypted, I believe,
so it doesn't
right?
matter. Obviously, bad people can get in there, as we saw.
And well, bad people didn't get in there.
They literally did. The head editor of the Atlantic was in that chat.
Yeah, the staffer let the author in, so it wasn't like it was hacked. They literally opened the door.
Yeah, but part of the reason. This is what we know of right now. Who knows who's gotten into other Signal chats? We have no idea, right? This is just the one where he happened to invite the head editor of the Atlantic or whatever.
Yeah, okay.
Probably shouldn't be doing that. That's probably a bad thing, right? That they're conducting official government business in Signal chats. Probably not good, right? Can we admit at least that that's not good?
Again,
no.
You're doing exactly what I said.
I know. Bringing up facts is like really detrimental to your worldview.
You just pivot.
Okay.
When you can't make an argument, like I said, we have the job numbers, we have GDP, we have inflation all go down. You pivot to Signal chat because you can't make your arguments based off of what we're actually talking
let's
about.
go back to the job.
So just to be clear, I wasn't pivoting at all. I was just bringing up the fact that you can't hire and fire people constantly to show competency over the job. And you pointed out the job numbers. I said he fired the job numbers person, and then you challenged me saying it's okay to fire people constantly for their competency. And I'm saying, well, here's an example of someone being incompetent, like Pete Hegseth, who was part of a Signal chat that you should have been a part of, and he didn't get fired. So clearly that's not the case. He's hiring and firing people based on whether or not he likes what they're telling him.
Let me go back to the jobs number for a second, right? So if the jobs person, the dude that got fired, let's assuming that he's telling the truth, then I think it was 250K jobs gained in December and only 73K jobs gained in July, which is still positive job growth, but it has declined a lot. If those numbers are accurate, what would be your response to that, Misfit?
If the numbers did come out accurately?
Yeah, assuming what the jobs guy said is true, then what would be your response to that?
I don't understand the question. I'm sorry.
So in December there was 250K new jobs, right? Mm-hmm. In July there was about 70K new jobs, right? So the number of job growth has significantly gone down, right? It's still positive, but it went down. So assuming that those numbers are accurate, what would be your retort to that?
Well, weren't the numbers making Trump look good as they were estimated, and then they were revised down, which would make him look bad, right?
Yes.
I'm just talking about the final numbers.
Yeah, Trump. I think that's the reason Trump gave. He goes, I don't want you to pump up my numbers and inflate them and make me look good, right? I want you to be more accurate. And again, I don't know this for a fact. I think based off of his track record of hiring and firing many people through both administrations, I think that he has a high standard, and that's a good enough reason for me to fire somebody. So okay. I just don't understand why we like, again, doing exactly what I said you'd do. Pivot. Just talk about what I'm actually talking about. Are the numbers that are accurate?
The job numbers are bad right now.
The job numbers are
bad. Yes.
Adding 671.
That's not what the job numbers are. They were revised and they're bad. That's why he fired the lady. They're bad.
Oh my God.
Uh-huh.
These are the updated numbers. The jobs that have been created are 671,000 jobs since January.
Those are before the revised numbers, no?
No, the revised numbers were higher, I believe.
So you're saying the last jobs report didn't undershoot where they were expecting them to be?
I don't believe so, unless I'm reading this wrong, but this is from whitehouse.gov, and it's also from...
You're reading Trump's own assessment of his own jobs numbers? And he's saying they're good? No way.
I believe, and NBC News. Look here.
I think it's about 560,000 since January, but I think this is undershooting what he wanted them to be. They're not like... I think it averages out to like less than 100,000 a month, which is less than what he's looking for.
Okay. So the jobs that have been created, not a success. Got it. What would be good? What would be a good, accurate, like, what would you consider a success?
Well, I mean, like the fact that all of the growth is happening in healthcare and crypto or whatever seems to be a little bit spooky.
Again, don't pivot. What do you just answer the question? What number do you think would be?
It's not just about a number. It's also the sectors where the job growth happens.
Okay. What? No.
Like
So-
an average upward trend in job growth, like widely and robustly across the economy, would probably be good. Seeing a
Yeah,
whole
and
bunch
we
of
know
job
that
growth concentrated in like a singular area, I think it was overrepresented, I think, in healthcare, is a little bit scary.
So the majority of the jobs numbers under Biden, and this isn't whataboutism, were government jobs, right? The majority of the new jobs under Trump's first 6 months are private sector jobs.
I don't
right?
think
So
that's true. I'm pretty sure our amount of government jobs has stayed pretty steady for the past like 30 years.
I think it's more than half our private sector. I want to say, but assuming that's true, that would be a good thing, right? That would be more everyday average people instead of just more government jobs.
Well, I don't even know if government jobs are necessarily bad. I mean, it depends on what job you're talking about. What do you mean?
Well, your side wants more government, my side wants less. So I think that would actually be accurate. You would think that's good.
Do you think all government jobs are bad jobs?
I think we should have smaller government. I think
that's not an answer. So we should fire everyone in the DoD.
I didn't say that, but if you let me finish, I think we should have a government so fucking small that we don't even know it exists, right? Our government should be like state and federal government jobs, right? We should not even have thousands a month. We should have tens, because that's how small I want my government, my federal government.
Okay.
And that's just me. That's just my opinion. A lot of people agree with me. I want limited government, very limited, so fucking limited that it barely makes a difference on my life. The federal government should have one job, and that should be protecting our borders, right? And just making sure that we're safe.
So then how bad do you feel that Donald Trump massively has failed in cutting the debt and the deficit, that the Big Beautiful Bill just added more and more to the debt and deficit? Sort of fight for higher.
The Big Beautiful Bill is not perfect. I've criticized it.
I didn't say it's not perfect. He failed massively in curbing the debt and the deficit, right? You agree with that? He failed there.
Yeah, that it's estimated that that's not going to, but there is also the hopefully, and I know that that's crazy. If we bring in more jobs, more manufacturing, and create a booming economy through energy independence and all of Trump's other policies, it will offset the debt that he didn't come down on. I'm not happy about it, so we're going to agree there. So you don't.
Well, we don't agree though. You're saying you're not happy about it. I'm saying it's a massive failure. It's a complete and total epic failure.
I don't think it's massive. I think that what you do, and obviously you will. I'm not really knocking you for this. It's your political biases. You hyperfixate.
I'm not hyperfixating. Doge said they would cut $2 trillion. It ended up being $9 billion. I don't know in what world that's not a massive failure.
Doge was a massive failure, and so Doge, yes, correct. I was excited about Doge, and it fell short.
Okay.
Right? So
and Donald Trump said that he would cut the debt and cut the deficit, and he's failed on that.
Where's Elon now, right? Like, so it's not like Trump is still saying like, yeah, Doge is awesome. He barely mentions it.
Do you think it was kind of embarrassing, given that he hyped up Doge so much and hired Elon to be his personal little puppet in the White House? Like, doesn't that bode poorly for Donald Trump's skills in hiring good people?
Well, I think it's rich, considering that a lot of people on your side, I'm not sure if you were also saying this, you were like that Elon is the real president and Elon is controlling Donald Trump, and now you're saying that Donald Trump got rid of Elon, kind of proving yourselves wrong. I think Trump hyped up Doge the same way because I think Elon hyped him up. And I think that Elon sold it to Trump. Trump sold it to America. And that Elon is the one who fell short. And now Trump got rid of Elon. It's
so in the straw man version of me, I'm saying that Elon is controlling Trump. I've never said that, I don't think. But in your world, Elon was actually controlling Trump. Elon actually misled Trump on what Doge could do, and then Trump hired him as a result of that.
I think hyping someone up and controlling them are two completely different things.
That's literally, it's called manipulating through flattery. That's literally what that is.
Yeah, I wouldn't say, sure, Elon manipulated Trump, but I, again, don't think that that's the same thing as controlling. I think that Trump's juggling a lot of places. I mean, every president does, except for Biden. I think he only juggled naps. But I think that
Biden was more successful in every single conceivable metric than Donald Trump has been so far, and will continue to be.
You mean the auto pen was more successful?
Have you ever seen a video of Biden having an executive order brought to him to sign that he doesn't know what it is? Whereas on every single one that Trump has signed, people are bringing it to him and explaining what the EO is. Have you ever seen that happen with Biden?
How many days did Biden take vacations out of his whole presidency? Was it 40-something%?
You think that Biden has taken more vacation days than Donald Trump has?
Absolutely. I will guarantee you that's true. look it up
Okay,
right now.
I'll look it up. But then back to my other
Look it up
question: Have you
right
ever
now.
seen? You've seen people bring executive orders to Trump and then explain them to Trump, right? You've seen that, right?
Yeah, well, he does that live.
Don't you think that's kind of
it's
weird that he's
summary.
not writing them and that he's the one who's getting them brought to him and explained by other people? Isn't that kind of weird?
No, I think you're being a little sassy right now, but you know how it works. Trump hires people to write the executive orders. They summarize them to him. He reviews them and hopefully reads the majority.
If you had proof that Biden was
them.
hiring people to write executive orders for him, don't you think that would be scandalous in and of itself?
Let me finish.
Okay.
I think that Trump reviews the executive orders. He puts together a collaboration, a team, right? His administration, and he then signs them, in which he signed them like live on TV. I think Trump has signed almost every executive order.
As they're explained to him by other people. So I
they're
linked
explained to him based off of his agenda that he put together with his cabinet. He
maybe. I
delegated-
mean, you think that, but that's could be the case.
But hold on. But what I'm saying is, I don't think Biden put together anything.
Yeah,
where
that's great,
he
but you have no
literally
proof
did-
of that.
No.
You can't prove any of that, right?
Other than the fact that he was pretty much asleep the whole time. No.
I mean, you can say that, but you can't prove that either. So I linked the thing on. You can look at for known totals of vacation days.
Wikipedia? You're giving me Wikipedia?
Is there a different source you would prefer?
Yeah, hold on.
I looked it up on
This says for
ChatGPT.
Donald Trump's first
Look it up
term,
on
he took
ChatGPT. What did
378 vacation days, and Joe Biden took 183 to 184. So Trump took about twice as many vacation days as Biden did.
Hold on. There's 1,460 days in an administration. So you just said 184. That's bullshit. What does ChatGPT say?
Yeah. So the Republican National Congress claimed that Biden took 577 days. However, Snopes investigated and they found that he took somewhere between 183 and 184 vacation days, which accounts to about 12.5% of his term. During Donald Trump's first term, he took 380 days, which accounts to about 26%.
Right, Biden. All right. So the Republican National Committee, and reported by other various sources,
They were all reporting what the RNC
hold on.
was saying. Yeah.
Hold on. Biden spent 577 days out of his 1,463 day term. So that's 39%. Okay. Now I don't know what Snopes did on their fact checking.
They do like. Are you familiar with Snopes?
Yeah.
Yeah, he probably thinks it's liberal propaganda. But the RNC, the Republican National Committee or whatever, that's not Republican propaganda, but Snopes is liberal propaganda.
Well, what are the findings? What is the evidence that the Republicans gave? Like, I'm sure that the way they do their tallies is they say, okay, Biden took a vacation day, this, and this day, and you add them all up to 577. You think there's a 577 to 183 disparity between the two sides. So even if it's somewhere in the middle, Biden took a fuck ton of vacation days.
Even if it was somewhere in the middle, it would still be less than Trump. But I mean, we can just read what Snopes says. A claim popularized by the Republican National Committee that former U.S. President Joe Biden spent 40% of his presidency on vacation stretched the truth. The RNC treated partial days outside the White House as full days on vacation, made outright errors in its calculations, and included locations that are not always used as vacation settings in its analysis. Due to the
So you'd do the same thing for Trump. A partial day outside of the White House would probably be attributed to a vacation day for Trump too. So I think that they use the same metrics as you would for Trump.
Yeah, but when they used the same metrics for both, Trump took twice as many vacation days as Joe Biden.
No, you're taking the good number from one. Let's not do this.
This was you wanted to go here, and now we're here. Now you don't like the facts. I know you hate. Facts are like fucking kryptonite to a conservative.
If that's your argument, I know if we spend more time on this, I will win. But I'm just saying, do we want to spend more time on this?
I do. Yeah. Sure.
Okay. All right. Fine.
Let's do like 5 minutes on this, and then let's go to ICE.
Okay, let's go to the Republican National Committee and see what they said. So you said that they included partial days outside. So he did take 577 vacation days, but you're saying some of them weren't real vacation days.
No, I'm saying that it sounds like they treated any time he was traveling anywhere, like to another country to meet with foreign leaders or whatever. It sounds like they were treating those as vacation days.
Yeah, and that's what that's like I said, that's the same exact.
No,
thing
the majority of Trump's were just spent at his golfing properties. Like if anybody watches
where
any
he
amount
was,
of news,
where he was working,
I don't believe he was working at his in the first term. No.
So you think that Biden can work when he's outside of the White House, but Trump never worked when he was outside of the White House. Again, you applied two different standards. You applied two different standards to two different presidents.
There's a significant difference between traveling to another country to go to their embassy or to go to a thing to give a speech versus Donald Trump going to a golfing property and just golfing. Yes.
But he wasn't just golfing. Trump was on the phone negotiating. Trump, golf only takes like 3-4 hours.
Well, that
tops.
probably depends on how much you play or how many holes or rounds or whatever the fuck, right?
Yeah. So Trump would golf for a few hours, and he's the fucking president. So I'm assuming that when he's at his golf course, he's got his staffers with him, and they're coming up to him going like, "Hey, Mr. President, this thing just happened." So again, he's literally working, but he's also golfing.
Okay, show me that.
This has already been reported on. He's literally.
I'm not seeing this anywhere. Where has it been reported on that he's?
They have. I think that there was I think that he just called. Oh shit! Was it? What was the conflict? He just called the president, and I think it was.
India, Pakistan?
No, it wasn't India, Pakistan. It was the one that just happened. Though it was like a 9-day war where like 30 something people died. And he called the world leader from the golf course, and he said, if you don't cut the shit, like I'm gonna get upset. And this is just reported like 2 weeks ago. Trump called the world leader to negotiate the end to a conflict from the golf course. So this is the very recent event.
You understand, your claim is unfalsifiable, right? You're giving me an example of one phone call that he made. How can I even debate this? Every factual source we can find shows that you're wrong.
Okay,
but you're saying what about the phone calls that he's making that we can't prove or verify or anything? Give me some metric or some analysis or somebody that's done something.
Well, you said Trump is only golfing. I just gave you a real time, a very recent example of him working while golfing.
Sure. Maybe not all of his golf things are. Maybe he does work in some of his golf things. I don't think he works on the majority of them, though.
Okay, so you lied.
Lied about what?
You lied and you said all of it. You see what you said he only golfs, and now I
said the majority. First of all, the majority of his vacation days aren't even. It's not all golfing, right? I think that they count 180 days golfing. His total vacation days were 378 vacation days.
Well, just a few minutes ago, you said Trump's vacation days, he's just golfing. And then a few minutes later, you go, all right, fine.
Okay, show me an analysis then. Show me an analysis of total vacation days.
Well, that's what I'm saying. If you're applying the metric.
Show me that.
If you're applying the metric to Biden taking partial vacation days, but you make the claim based off of just your assumption.
None of these are my claims. These are Snopes going through the RNC's claims.
No. You're giving benefit of doubt to Biden, saying the vacation days where he wasn't in the White House and when he was traveling, where he wasn't actually working in the White House, they counted those as vacation days. And I said they did the same thing to Trump, but Trump was working on those days. So I'm saying they applied the same metric to measure vacation days for both presidents, and that's how they got the number 577. That's how you get, if you use the same metric for both, you get the big number for both. Why
you're saying that? I understand you're saying that, but you haven't done this analysis yourself. You're just baselessly asserting it.
You're only basing it off of Snopes, which has had
that is a fact-checking. That's a fact-checking org. Yeah, that's what I'm basing it off of. Do you think that you individually are more reliable than Snopes?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay, can you give me some article? You're not going to trust Washington Post either, I guess. Then what's a news source that I could link that you would trust?
So Snopes retract 54 stories and suspended fact-checking sites co-founder over plagiarism accusations. That is 2021.
Who are you reading this from? Well, who are you sourcing this from?
This is from BuzzFeed News.
Do you trust BuzzFeed News? If I was to link you a BuzzFeed News post, would you trust that? Or are you only trusting BuzzFeed News right now because they're saying that Snopes might have had to retract some stories?
How about the AP? Is the AP good enough?
I like the AP. I'm guessing you probably wouldn't most of the time.
This is from the AP. Prominent fact checker Snopes apologizes for plagiarism, right?
So does that mean they're wrong on every single thing they've posted?
New York Post, Snopes co-founder banned for plagiarizing, right? So I'm saying, and then this is
wait. I just want to be clear. So if they have been caught plagiarizing a story, or if they've retracted 51 or whatever stories, that means we don't trust anything they publish. Then who do we trust on this issue then?
So you're saying that a publication that has to retract 60 stories should be trusted?
Out of how many stories did they publish?
Well, what do you mean? Like, I'm saying...
Hold on, wait. If they'd only published 100 stories and they retracted 61, do you agree that that's a lot worse than if they published like 1,000 stories and retracted 61? Or 10,000 stories, right? So isn't that kind of important to know?
I think it's also important to know the co-founder had to make a public apology for plagiarism. That's a big one.
Plagiarism doesn't necessarily mean that they are lying about anything. That's not even really relevant to what we're talking about, right?
The person who founded this site is a plagiarist, right?
Okay, and Fox News settled the largest defamation lawsuit of all corporate history, propagating a lie that Donald Trump himself and his campaign was propagating for the 2020 election around the Dominion election machines. If you want to play like who's the bigger liar, the Republican side loses 100%.
Here's why your whataboutism bullshit tactic won't work. Fox News is fake news, so I am not going to
They were propagating stories from Trump and his campaign.
Fox News lies.
About Trump, it was Trump's lies, though. The Dominion lawsuit was Trump's lies.
This isn't a gotcha. No, it's Fox News' lies.
Wait, so Trump and Sidney Powell and Giuliani weren't all saying the Dominion Venezuelan voting machines weren't rigging the election? That didn't originate with Trump and his campaign?
They offered their opinion. Fox News reported on it and took it too far. And
no, they just copied what they said. Trump literally calls into Fox News like every other day. Trump's daughter-in-law works at Fox News now. This is a lying organization?
Fox News made their own assertions, which is why they were
They didn't. They just copied it from Trump's campaign. But I just want to be clear. So Jean Pirro or whatever, she's like the DC prosecutor now. She's from Fox News. Hegseth, the head of our DOD, he's from Fox News. Donald Trump's daughter-in-law, she now works at Fox News. Donald Trump himself calls into Fox News. All of these Fox News hosts that are having like positions in the government now, this is a horrible organization. Donald Trump is hiring from it and working with it. And you're trusting Donald Trump's judgment here?
No, I said that Fox News lies. Like they have lied. It's mainstream media. The CNN lies, Fox News lies, MSNBC lies.
So who do you trust?
None of them.
Dude, how do you get information about anything?
I have to literally look at a bunch of different sources and then come to my own conclusion. It's this wild concept where I don't just blindly trust mainstream media.
Walk me through, how can you go to a bunch of different sources if all of them are lying?
So I think there was a recent poll, 70% of Americans do not trust the media. And you're surprised that I don't trust the media?
I'm asking you, how do you ascertain the truthfulness of any claim if you think that all of them are lying? Why would reading a bunch of lies help you figure out the truth if it's all lies?
I use common sense, critical thinking, and deductive reasoning.
Give me an example of how you use common... No. This is really important. This is literally the most important thing. This is the most important thing. How can you use common sense and critical thinking to ascertain a lie from a mainstream media publication? How can you common sense your way through the lies that they tell?
Well, so they don't literally lie every single time they open their mouths, and not everybody at Fox News does lie, but the organization has a track record of reporting lies. So I don't trust the organization. Some of the people that work there, I would say, are more credible than others.
So who do you believe in Fox that's more credible? What are some of these people?
In fact, you know what? Ironically, I'm not just saying this because Trump hired him, but I think Pete Hegseth was an honest actor. I think Will Cain is a very honest reporter. There's not many, honestly, that I really I don't even watch it anymore because I got tired of how it's just the same shit over and over again. You know, when Fox News, when a white girl goes missing or a prisoner escapes, Fox News covers it for like 3 days straight. I want to hear other stories that are going on in the world, so I don't even watch it anymore. So, but I think it's funny how you're saying you do trust the media because this is a 70-30 issue in the country, and you're part of the 30.
So you're saying that I should just follow whatever the popularity and the opinion polls are?
No, I'm saying what you should do is you should look at a story that's being reported. Okay, here's what I do. I actually do. This is the whole premise of my podcast. It's called The Daily Breakdown. I literally take news articles from all of these sites and I go, that's probably bullshit. That's probably bullshit. And then I give critical thinking and I do research and I give my own opinions based on that research onto what the actual truth might be. I don't make assertions of fact unless I can prove it. I don't say anything as an assertion of fact.
Then show us right here. Let's do it with the election thing then. Or not the election thing. Let's do it with the vacation time thing. Show me how you break it down.
Okay, we already just did this, so let's not do it again. But
We didn't do this,
summarize-
though. No,
Hold
we
on,
didn't do this.
We did. You just didn't like the way that I
No,
answered.
you just didn't do any research. You just like gave me some opinions, right? You know, I research better than you, right? Like I have more media savvy than you. I'm a better critical thinker than you. I'm a better researcher than you. I know more facts about all of these things than you do. So I don't know why you're talking to me like this is you're enlightening me somehow. Yeah.
How do you know you're better than me?
Because I just listened to your thought process on how you pick things out here, and you have all the classic markings of somebody that falls prey to his own biases when evaluating media.
I literally just said I don't trust the media, and you said that I fall prey to my
You
own
said that you
bias.
don't trust the media minutes after you told me that the reason why you know the Snopes article is fake is because BuzzFeed News said something and the AP said something, which I'm guessing are two media publications you don't trust. But you're actually displaying a perfect example of somebody who lacks media savvy, which is you are selectively critical. You believe sources when they tell you what you want to hear, and then you disbelieve them when they tell you what you don't want to hear.
No, what I said is I take all of it. Now, giving one example of a BuzzFeed in real time to just point out the claim that there is a story where the co-founder, and I looked at 3 of them in a row where the co-founder apologizes for plagiarism, and I asked you, what source would you like? And you said the AP. The AP's good.
Plagiarism
Like,
has
you do the
nothing
AP.
to do with being wrong about the facts. What if he was
it
plagiarizing
goes-
a dictionary? Is that?
It goes to credibility. But again, right?
But the
you
Fox
asked
News
me-
Dominion lawsuit doesn't go to credibility?
Hold on, you asked
I do want to go to ICE. I think we need to cover this. It's an important part of this first 6 months.
Okay.
So let's go to ICE. Trump's immigration policy in general. Where do you guys stand on this?
I think it's a huge success. Now, I honestly don't know how you're going to do this, but I'm sure you're going to try. But I'll just give my I'll give my key facts, my key points. Actually, I won't even go through facts. I'll let you do that. But the border crossings are down between 92 and 96%. We had I think we had a day or a week where there wasn't one single crossing across the border, right? And I hope you're in agreement, but I think that's a success. I think that's a good thing. And here's why. Every time the border numbers are down, sex trafficking is down. Fentanyl is down, right? The raping of children and women that make the trek to America is down. And seeing the number go 96% down is 96% less sex trafficking that would have come through that corridor. 96% less fentanyl that would have come through that corridor. 96% less women and children who are raped on the journey to America through that corridor. So the numbers aren't even calculable, but my brother died of a fentanyl overdose, and I know what the crisis of fentanyl really is. Another, and I know this isn't related, but just real quick, forcing Mexico and Canada to address the fentanyl crisis, which is kind of related, is also very important to me. I think that's a huge success. I think that's a huge problem. But as far as ICE arresting illegals, getting them out of the country, deporting them, SCOTUS ruling in favor of Donald Trump that he has the authority to do so, I think every illegal immigrant that is not in this country who is breaking the law is also another potential crime that could take place, and that's down. So all in all, I just think it's amazing, and it's down.
One follow-up question before we go to Destiny. What's your stance on legal immigrants being also arrested?
If I understand that there have been some mistakes, and I don't think that I can defend them, so I won't. Mistakes happen. I hope that the administration has as few mistakes as possible and corrects them, which I have seen them do. And I think that it's kind of baked into the cake, and I don't like it, but I also don't think that you can halt all of these operations, which are, again, a massive success, because if you look at it as what I just said, 96% less sex trafficking, 96% less fentanyl, and you say, but what happens if they arrest 1 or 2 people by accident, and then they figure it out and they let them go? They definitely inconvenienced these people. They definitely, those people should definitely be able to sue the federal government, and I hope they win. But those mistakes have been made, and I think that they are few. So you can harp on them, but I'm not going to try to say that they were a good thing. So, yeah.
All right, let's let Destiny respond.
Yeah, I mean, there is no fentanyl crisis at the Canadian-U.S. border. I think Trump obviously just said that because he wanted to control the borders of both North and South more. Via executive order, he has shut down a lot of the entrance to the southern border, which I guess is good. It'd be nice if there was some legislation there, so it would be a little bit more sticky than just a president being able to come in and add and remove, whatever arbitrary caps he wants to set on the border. I don't know if that helps much with fentanyl. I mean, according to the CBP's own website, over 90% of the fentanyl that comes into the United States seems to be coming from like U.S. citizens or U.S. vehicles that are driving it through. So I don't know if a reduction in illegal immigration actually reduces the amount of illegal fentanyl coming into the country. But yeah, I mean, Trump can have his win on the border by shutting it down via executive action. It'd be nice if we actually had more legislation to deal with the actual immigration problems for real. But if all we can do is EOs because he's an ineffective leader, then all we can do is EOs. And then I think that his weaponization of ICE and everything in the United States is making Americans hate probably everything having to do with immigration enforcement more than would be necessary. But again, Donald Trump is an ineffective leader who can't seem to make agreements or deals or work with anybody in Congress or any of the governors that aren't already in his pocket. So
were you against the sweeping EOs that Biden signed on his first 100 days in office?
Which ones?
All of them. He signed, I think there was over 51 in the first month.
I would need an example of an EO that I disagree with.
No, I'm saying you just said that if Trump wants to rule through executive order, I guess.
So the reason why I said that is because typically the border itself is in the purview of Congress to pass legislation when it comes to figuring out what the immigration policy should be. Donald Trump is declaring national emergencies to get around using Congress. That's why I'm opposed to him using it. I'm not just opposed to an EO blanket. I'm opposed to ones that I think are illegal.
Okay.
Where do you guys stand on, for example, let's take a look at DICOT. We have lots of cases of nonviolent, some legal immigrants, some illegal immigrants. We're talking about nonviolent people who haven't committed a crime being sent to DICOT, which is essentially known as you go in, you never come out type of place. I watched a documentary on that place, and it is honestly fucking scary. You get 1 hour of exercise per week. You are not allowed to talk. You can't. You have to kind of sit down in the fetal position. There's 80 people in one cell. It is honestly a fucking nightmare. Take the worst prison in America, and it doesn't even come close, right? What is your guys' take on people who are not even from El Salvador being sent to El Salvador? That's prison specifically, especially ones who didn't commit a crime.
First of all, I think the Supreme Court ruled with Trump that he can send illegal immigrants wherever he wants. And as to my answer to that is, I think that every person in this country who is here illegally knows they're here illegally, and they know the law. And I think that Trump has gone above and beyond to give them an opportunity not to be sent to that horrible place, where he said, I will pay you upwards of $1,000 a day, or sorry, $1,000 a person to self-deport and leave. And over 1 million people have already done so. The people who haven't, they know they are breaking the law, and they know that that's a place that they can go if they get caught. If I move to Italy, if I go to Italy on vacation and I just think I like it better there, right? And I just don't leave. I don't leave, and I get a fake social security card, if whatever they got over there. I start a business and I contribute to their economy, and I don't hurt anybody and I don't break any laws. But then 20 years later, they catch me. I'm an illegal immigrant over there. I decided to do something. I broke the law, and I should have to pay for it. So yeah, no, I'm sorry. I don't feel bad for them at all. They know they're breaking the law. They know they're criminals.
Okay, Destiny.
What's the question?
What are your thoughts on the fact that, for example, a lot of people are being sent to DICOT?
I think it's super unhinged. I don't know why the fuck we have to pay another country to take people away from us. If we want to deport people, deport them. I just think that's mega cringe.
A lot of people won't. The problem is a lot of other countries won't. So Donald Trump's hand was forced, where he has to work out this situation with El Salvador, where El Salvador's like, yeah, send them.
Just to be clear, the president of the United States of America is unable to force other countries to take people that he's deporting. The United States of America.
He's tried, and a lot of them have said no.
I thought this was the master deal maker, that a master negotiator can't figure out how to deport people from the country?
Again, if you hold him to the ridiculously high standard of being perfect, then you can say that Donald Trump has not perfectly forced every other world leader to take back the people that they intentionally sent to this country. a lot of like Venezuela and
or it's just that Donald Trump is lying, which I think is more historically accurate.
what is he lying about?
That he doesn't have the ability to send people to whatever country he wants or get back people. Remember how he said over and over again that he couldn't get people back from he couldn't get Abrego Garcia back, and then magically when the Supreme Court said he had to, he did instantly.
Abrego Garcia is an MS-13 member from El Salvador, and he was sent to El Salvador.
Yeah, and now he's brought back from El Salvador after Trump said we couldn't get him back
Just
from
to
El Salvador.
clarify,
Yeah,
there's absolutely no evidence that he was MS-13.
Yeah, that's true too. But also, but I'm just saying
other-
that Trump said that he couldn't get him back, and he came back after he got him back. So.
Other than the two courts that identified him as an MS-13 member, the MS-13 tattoo on his knuckles, and yes, it is an MS-13 tattoo. And
wait, do you think that it actually says MS-13 on his fingers?
There's a marijuana leaf.
I've read the conservative propaganda. That's not how that works.
It's not propaganda. It's a literal MS-13 tattoo. It's what they do. It's literally it's symbolism. It all M stands for marijuana, 1 smiley, and then the 3 is the 3 holes in the skull. Anyway, as far as people like Abrego Garcia, right? He was sent back because Congress, the Democrats, made a huge stink about it, and a federal judge essentially tried to force him back. The Supreme Court did agree that because of the paperwork that was filed improperly, they had to bring him back, but he's just going to be tried here, and he's eventually going to be sent back anyway. So all they did was delay the inevitable.
Well, we don't know how that result of the court case will go here, number one. Number two, he wasn't supposed to be sent back to El Salvador. That's what the immigration judge had said. So he could be deported to another country.
Well, El Salvador is his country of origin. So if they're willing to take him, I don't know why he would be sent anywhere else.
Well, it's not just that they were willing to take him, it's where he paid them money to take him. I don't know why the United States of America has to pay other countries to take deportees. We're the United States of America. I think we can probably just throw our weight around and make them do that regardless.
I mean, I think it's probably better to at least incentivize other countries to take back and undo this horrible situation that Biden put us in by opening the border completely wide open, like millions and millions of people. And again, right, this isn't whataboutism, but it's relevant, right? Every percentage point that the border went down was undoing sex trafficking, fentanyl, and crime that Biden allowed to happen in this country. Biden ruined.
We're really going to do the Epstein defender president as the guy trying to curb sex trafficking? Is that really that's the route we're going to go down?
Are we going to pivot to Epstein because you don't have an argument against that?
No, I already said that the illegal crossings down are fine, I guess.
What's your argument for opening the millions of illegals pouring in, and Donald Trump was able to shut it down within 6 months?
Donald Trump just turned off the asylum seeking process. We don't even know if that's going to stand legally or not. I will see. But
Well, he also closed the fucking border down
by shutting down the asylum process. Nobody can come into the U.S. and claim asylum anymore to port of entry.
No. He made it so you have to be an actual asylum seeker.
Okay.
Millions and millions of people were not coming here and making legitimate asylum claims. They were just saying, I'm scared of my country. And they didn't have to prove it. They didn't have to give any documentation, which incentivized illegal immigration. It is illegal to lie about being in fear for your life in your home country.
Yeah, but if you refuse to accept any asylum claims, then obviously you're not going to be able to ascertain which ones are legitimate or not. So I mean, it's
but again, incentivizing. So shutting down the method that they were using with the CPP-1 app, and just freaking, they were flying people in too, by the way, under the Biden administration.
Yeah, I don't think that was happening. But also, like, we had a border bill to shut that down. Why did Republicans oppose the border bill after Trump told them to? At the end of
the same reason every bill in Congress is stupid. Congress is useless and garbage because they always put poison pills in every bill, and both sides do it. I'm not giving any excuses for either side of Congress.
There was no poison pill in this bill, but okay.
Yeah, there was like Democrat wish lists in there that the Republicans didn't want to sign on to. So what happens with both sides, by the way, so try not to come at me for this because I'm saying my side does it too, is when they write legislation, they write in a bunch of shit, and then they go, all right, let's try to sneak in our fucking wish list. I think
the border bill was just a border bill. That was it. There were no.
The border bill had other shit in there.
No, it didn't. Republicans tried to make it have other shit in there when they tried to tie it to the Ukraine stuff. But
so there was two versions of the border bill. Initially, it did have funding for Ukraine, funding for Israel, funding for Taiwan. But then
That was
but
with the
then there
Republicans'
was
insistence,
another-
though. That was at the Republicans' insistence, but then it got
but then-
separated
wait,
out.
Let me clean this up. But then after that, there was another proposed border bill that did not have all of that. So
But that
you guys are
even-
both actually correct.
Even that border bill, even the revised one, was garbage. It let 5,000 people in a day. That's not a fucking border bill.
It didn't actually. I don't want to get involved too much, but it didn't actually let five. It said that up until, so if you hit 5,000 border crossings, then 5,000 encounters at the border, then the border would get shut down. So it didn't say that 5,000 people could get in. It said that once you hit 5,000 encounters, the border shuts down. But those people that are countered are still subject to, whatever regulations.
I honestly, I'm not. You've been actually a very fair moderator, so I think that's a fair way. That's a fair point to jump in on, and I'll address it real quick. What you're basically saying is, right, that they put a border bill together that says we have the ability to shut down the border, but we won't do it until 5,000 people cross the border. In my mind, that means
5,000 encounters.
5,000 encounters.
Yeah.
What that means to me is we will now wait for 5,001 before we do our job. And Republicans are like, why not just do it at 1? I don't like this bill.
Because because people need to be allowed to claim asylum. It's like a legal process that was afforded to people.
5,000 per day. People need to. Okay.
Well, no, it was if the encounters got too high, they had the ability to shut down the border. Do you think it's better for the president to do everything and not have Congress involved at all? Would you, if Donald Trump tomorrow said he was going to abolish Congress and just want to do everything on his own with his administration, would you support that?
No. That's a stupid question. I think.
Okay, well, because it seems like you're okay with the president doing everything unilaterally. The tariff policies are just him. The immigration policy is just him. Foreign policy is just him. Like, what do you not want the president to do on his own that he should look to Congress for?
I want the president to do every single thing in his purview and use the maximum amount of his authority legally under the Constitution and the executive branch. But I do not want him to overuse or do anything that's unconstitutional. If Donald Trump wants to work harder than any other president and fucking write more executive orders than any other president and fucking do tariffs and do this and do that, I don't care. That's his job. It's in his purview. What I would really love is for Congress to do their fucking job, because they get paid 10 times as much as a school teacher and work about half as much. And I don't understand how the fuck they're even like a thing. So
Congress gets paid 10 times as much as a school teacher?
I mean, some of them, they get, no, I would say more, if you take the average, probably 5 times as much as a school teacher, and they work less. Yeah. They work less than a public school teacher and make 5 times as much.
Okay.
And some of them,
I think it's like 3 to 4 times. I think it depends on what you're talking about, but okay.
But the 10 times number, I'm also referring to the side hustles. You know, they got book deals and speaking events, and they got stock trades and all this shit.
Sure. What is there? What do you think is the thing that Congress should do that the president shouldn't be doing?
Well, like I said, I think that the president should do as much as he can under his purview. Because
I understand, but that's not what I asked. I'm saying, what is something Congress should do? I don't know why you're talking about what the president should do. I'm asking, what should Congress do?
Hold on. I'm saying that representative government, which is what we want in this country, the president is also my representative. So I want him to do as much as he can do. I want Congress to also do as much as they can do. I want them to stop taking fucking recesses.
So what's the job that Congress should have?
Congress should be making laws, and not like only making laws, but they should be tending to their districts and doing.
So they made a bill last time for immigration, and the president Donald Trump shot it down because he wanted to keep the border open for election. So
here's what I want Congress to do immediately. Mm-hmm. I want them to immediately make a law that says that none of them can engage in any secondary income activities while they are serving in office. And that means no stock trades, no book deals, no speaking events. You get your base salary, and that's all you get.
Wait, do you think that the same should be said for the president?
Yes.
So you acknowledge then that Donald Trump is like doing more side hustles than every president in all of U.S. history combined, and all of Congress and every U.S. Congress combined in history. Every single congressional member, Senate and Congress, and every single president combined has made less money than Donald Trump has made on his side hustles, right?
Okay, so Donald Trump has donated his whole salary, though, right?
No, wait, Donald Trump's salary is like $400K. He's made like hundreds of millions or billions off of Trump coin at this point. That's nothing. That's a drop in the bucket.
Maybe I should have clarified. I'm sorry. I mean related to Congress, right? Like, I don't think they should have any speaking engagements, book deals while they are working in Congress. If they have a private, like I don't think that MTG, who's a moron, by the way, we'll agree on that, should have to give up her construction business because she joined Congress. No, I'm not saying that. I'm saying I don't think that they should be able to have side hustles while in Congress. Like, they shouldn't be able to go and do speaking engagements. They shouldn't be able to trade stocks because they have insider information. They shouldn't be able to do certain
So what about the president of the United States having a huge control of a crypto coin that anybody can secretly?
I've criticized him for that.
Not just criticize. That's like a horrible thing, right?
It's not that bad. He's again
that he could be hosting $1 million dinners and getting donations anonymously through that crypto coin. That's not that bad.
Well, he could. He could be, but that would be a huge violation. And if he did that,
didn't he literally have a special crypto dinner where like the top 50 fucking Trump coin holders were allowed to attend? Didn't he literally actually do that?
But if they were just buying the crypto coin on their own, and then he was like, yeah, you can come to a dinner. I don't know. I don't even know what you're talking about.
Oh, okay. No, wait. Hold on. This is the standard conservative go-to is like, I don't know anything about the most corrupt president in history. It's kind of crazy that you wouldn't know that the president said the top holders of this crypto coin, I'm going to invite the top like 30 or 40 or 50 of you to come and have like a special little dinner with me. That's kind of strange. You wouldn't know about that. But
the most corrupt president in history. I think the last president literally went to Ukraine and said, if you don't fire the prosecutor that is investigating my son for corruption, I will not give you $1 billion of taxpayer money. So
why do you think Biden said publicly when he was on stage that he was pressuring Ukraine to fire Shokov? Why do you think he said that? Because
they wanted him fired. I don't give a fuck.
Because the entire world, because he was a corrupt prosecutor.
On camera,
yes.
According to Biden, right?
No, according to all of Europe and according to Ukraine. That's why he got fired.
On camera, according to Ukraine, one of the most corrupt nations in the world.
That was the whole reason why they were pressuring Ukraine to move in a less corrupt direction. Yes, there was loans and there was money being made available to Ukraine on the contingency that they clean up their system.
Listen, I don't even give a shit your logic, right? Here's the deal. Biden on camera admitted to bribery.
It wasn't bribery, though. What do you mean, admitted to bribery?
Absolutely bribery. If you say, I walked into a world leader's office and said,
yep,
I will withhold taxpayer dollars,
yes,
which he doesn't have the authority to do.
He did have the authority to do it. That was the whole deal. The deal was that the United States had made available preferential loans to Ukraine that as long as they followed all of the guidelines set forth with deals that were also negotiated with the EU, that they could have money available to them to fix up their system. And firing corruption and getting rid of corruption was part of the agreement. Yes, that's why do you think he felt comfortable saying this on a world stage?
And it is just a coincidence that prosecutor was investigating Biden's son.
Technically, well, he wasn't investigating Biden's son. One of the open investigations was into Burisma, but there were lots of open investigations. And this investigation had been dead for years. There wasn't even good evidence that like anything was even going on here. Like at the end of the day, Hunter brought back maybe $5 to $10 million of payments from Burisma. Donald Trump makes that in a day fucking with his crypto coin. Like what? Yeah, it's not even remotely comparable.
You're going to pull your back up moving these goalposts, bro. So anyway.
Hold on. Just to be clear, I haven't moved a single goalpost. There was no quid pro quo. Not in the same way when Giuliani called for Zelensky and said, hey, can you guys announce an investigation into Hunter Biden? When Donald Trump said that, yeah.
Do you think that a president that is not engaging in corruption would have to pardon his entire family, pre-pardon them for crimes that apparently they didn't commit?
If he felt like they were being corruptly investigated by the other side, then they might do that. So, for example, in the beginning of this debate, when I said that Donald Trump was writing executive orders to target individuals and rescinding security clearances from political opponents, that would be an example of a corrupt weaponization of the DOJ that you might want to protect people from. Yes.
So Biden can just assume corruption, right?
No, not assume it. We would just see corruption based on the conduct of the Republicans and what they'd been like for the 4 years when Biden was president.
That would be an assumption.
No, it wouldn't be an assumption. An assumption would be baseless. The Republicans investigated Hunter Biden for 4 years and found nothing of this Burisma corruption, and instead just charged him with crimes about lying on a 4473.
Hunter Biden was convicted of a felony. What the fuck are you talking about?
The felony was lying on a 4473 about doing drugs while buying a gun. You know that nobody gets charged with this crime, right? This is not like a crime that you charge people with, right?
I understand, but it goes to character.
Goes to character?
Yeah. Have you seen?
Oh, well, in that case, Donald Trump was 34-time convicted felon. He's got a way worse character than Hunter Biden. Then easy, I'll take that. Fine. Hunter Biden also wasn't even in part of the government. He wasn't president of the United States. Donald Trump puts all of his family members all over the government and media.
Okay, so let's go back to. I think we're doing the thing again. right? What was the original the claim? Okay, so the claim was the crypto thing, right? I don't think that Trump should engage in the crypto thing, but it also goes back to the argument I made on why he can engage in lawsuits, right? He's also a private citizen while being president of the United States, or he has the same rights as a private citizen. So legally, he can do it, right? Do I think it's
well, legally, Biden can pardon anybody he wants. That's fine too, right?
Yeah, you're right. He can. I just asked you the reason, and you give the most amount of leeway to your side.
I don't give any leeway. I just look at the facts. It's very easy to just look at the facts. Yeah.
So you look at the facts that Biden presumed that he made an assumption that the Trump administration was going to have a corrupt DOJ that was going to go after his family, so he just blanket pardoned all
Which they've done. Donald Trump literally says he wishes he could go after all the J6 Select Committee people, but he can't because they were pardoned.
Let me finish my point. Please don't interrupt. I don't interrupt you. All right. So Biden presumed that there was going to be a corrupt administration, and under that assumption, right, he pardoned his whole family and then some random people in his circle. But Trump cannot assume that the pollsters and the other people are corrupt based off of the behavior that Donald Trump is making an assumption.
Yeah.
Right. So
because there's evidence for one thing. Because there's evidence for one thing and there's not evidence for the other thing.
Let's let him finish.
Okay.
I know you can't stop interrupting me. So my point is, right, you have two sets of standards, right? Whereas I have tried to give the same set of standards, just like we did with the vacation days. I'm giving the same leeway to both and saying that both of the numbers were days where both presidents probably weren't really taking a full vacation, but both people who counted these vacation days counted them high, right? And that's where I went. I gave Biden the credit and Trump the credit, equal credit. What you do is you give one side credit and then not the other. It's clear. So I mean, if you can make that make sense to me, please do.
Yeah, I just like to look at the actual facts and the evidence, and
You
then
keep saying facts.
Wait, Misfit. Now let's let Destiny.
yeah. So the facts would be somebody like Kash Patel saying that he's going to come in and open investigations on every single person that worked with the J6 Select Committee or that worked with Biden. That would be evidence pointing towards a corrupt DOJ. The fact that when the DOJ came about under Donald Trump, they started to write executive orders, literally targeting individual law firms, literally targeting individuals at those law firms, and then rescinding security clearances from people that they deemed as enemies of the administration. That would be evidence towards corrupt intent. When you look at Donald Trump in his first term, and he fired Comey because he was trying to obstruct the investigation into his campaign, when he begged Jeff Sessions to recuse himself, or I'm sorry, not to recuse himself, but to also to end the investigation in his campaign, when Mueller had to be appointed as a special prosecutor because Trump was trying so hard to obstruct him as much as he can, and then when Donald Trump literally pardoned every single person that helped that obstruction happen, people like Roger Stone, people like Manafort, yeah, I think that all goes to evidence of a corrupt intent from the DOJ and from Donald Trump. I don't think you saw any of this under Biden. While Biden was president, there were literally two special counsels running against him the entire time. One for the secret documents or whatever, and then another one for his son that lasted for years and years. The Republicans promised that they were going to prove the Burisma link. They never did. They had nothing. Not only did they not prove it, but the guy that initially informed on the FBI saying there was a link between Hunter Biden and Burisma and doing improper deals, that guy admitted to lying about everything. And he's currently, right now, convicted for lying to the FBI, which was the whole origination point of that Burisma false dealings thing.
So you think that going after your political opponents with the justice system is corrupt intent?
If you have no reason to do so, yes.
Oh, hold on. No. You just said this shows corrupt intent. Now, which administration was Donald Trump indicted under?
Yeah, Donald Trump was indicted when Biden was in office.
Yes. So you think that Biden had corrupt intent by going after Donald Trump?
Donald Trump was indicted by a special prosecutor, not directly under Biden's control, Jack Smith.
Not directly under Biden's control, but under Biden's DOJ, correct?
But Biden's DOJ appointed a special prosecutor so that it wouldn't, and Merrick Garland himself didn't operate under Biden's control directly.
Okay, but it was Biden's Department of Justice. He is the top dog.
No, because Democrats don't run the DOJ that way. They don't give orders like Donald Trump does to his DOJ. That's why there's no evidence whatsoever of Biden controlling Merrick Garland. I know you want to simplify it because you don't like to get into the facts. Yeah, but that's the reality.
The country runs the same.
No, it doesn't. No, not when there's somebody corrupt and authoritarian like Donald Trump. No, it doesn't run the same. It's very different.
There it is. The isms are coming up. So
authoritarian is not an ism. You mean authoritarianism?
Yes. All right. whatever, doesn't matter. Look, this is again the double standard that you have.
Yes, because I'm looking at the facts, and you just want to not look at any of the facts. I understand.
You just keep saying fact. You are saying my opinion is a fact. That's what you are saying. You keep on saying.
I'm sorry. Which indictment? Let's go over the indictments. Which indictment against Donald Trump is unfair?
Interrupt.
Do you want to get into the facts of any of them, or do you just want to say that? Oh, you just want to be vague in general. Go ahead.
You're doing that interrupting again. You should stop that.
Okay.
So you are saying I have an opinion about Donald Trump, and then you say I'm just looking at the facts, right? You are not presenting facts, right? You are presenting your opinion. You are saying Donald Trump's Department of Justice is corrupt because they might go after their political opponents, or they did write executive orders against lawyers. But you are giving credit to Biden, saying he is presuming that there is his Department of Justice had a special counsel that was hired under his, and then you say the Department of Justice doesn't run the same way under a Democrat than it does a Republican.
Correct. Right? Because I have evidence of that.
Wait, Destiny, let's let him just finish.
But what I'm saying is the structure of the system, right? Now there is separation of powers. You are correct there, right? But Biden's DOJ, Biden is the top of the executive branch, but he is the boss of Merrick Garland, right? And Merrick Garland is the boss of the Department of Justice, right? So it is a structure where Biden is the last person you answer to.
No.
Correct?
No.
Yes.
No. There's different theories. This was the whole point of the.
Let's let Destiny respond.
Yeah, the whole point of the Trump admin was this unitary executive theory, the idea that the president of the United States can directly control and tell attorney generals what he wants them to do directly. It was a huge issue in his first term. It's why Barr quit. It's why he had so many issues with his attorney generals, because he's trying to direct them to do things that they might not want to do. And the DOJ is seen historically as having some separation from the president, because you don't want the president to be in direct control like that. It's very scary. But that's why he chose this time a sycophant like Pam Bondi, who is taking orders directly from him, and you can see that from top to bottom. You never saw that. You never saw Biden ordering Merrick Garland to do something. If that was the case, you would have never had the Hearn report.
How do you know?
Because Merrick Garland never said it, because there were no reports verifying this ever, and because Merrick Garland appointed a special prosecutor that literally investigated Biden for lost security documents or for classified information. That's where the whole Hearn report came from.
Did Biden pardon Merrick Garland? Pre-pardon him? Was he one of them?
I'm not sure, but I'm just saying there's no evidence. There's no evidence whatsoever that he.
So you're saying because Merrick Garland never came out and admitted to corruption that he might have been taking part in, that the lack of evidence is proof that they never did anything.
I'm saying there's no evidence of it, and there's plenty of evidence of Trump doing it openly.
There is no evidence right now that the guy who cuts my hair is a pedophile. He might be a pedophile though. Like, it's a possibility. Right. So like there's no evidence that just because you haven't seen evidence doesn't mean it's not happening. What I'm saying is if the standard you apply to Donald Trump, which is he gives orders to his attorney general, who then directs the Department of Justice to do certain things, that means that you can presume that it is a possibility that Biden did the same thing you're accusing Trump of.
Yes, if I had no critical ability to analyze media, then I would say that. But if I looked at the facts, if I looked at all the reports, if I looked at stuff from the White House, there's been a lot of stuff that's leaked from both White Houses. Jake Tapper wrote his whole book attacking Biden, and plenty of people in the Biden White House had their opinions on how things ran. Nobody ever has ever said that Biden was directing Merrick Garland. That's just never been the case. There's no evidence of that whatsoever.
Jake Tapper, the guy who said that Biden was the sharpest president ever, and then waited until they fucking railroaded him to write a book. Look, man, I'm pretty much, unless you have more topics you want to talk about.
Yeah, I think we've gone for 2 hours.
I mean, we acknowledge there's no evidence that Biden directed Garland to do anything. That's good. And there's open evidence that Donald Trump thinks he controls literally unilaterally the DOJ.
By your logic, there is no evidence that Donald Trump has done anything wrong either. Because
anything wrong? Why did you make it so vague? I said he controls the DOJ on his own unilaterally.
There's no evidence that he controls the DOJ.
There literally is. What do you mean? Pam Bondi literally says, Donald Trump has directed me to look into this. Donald Trump and then Donald Trump literally says, I have Pam Bondi looking into this. Yes.
Donald Trump is her boss.
Yeah, but the DOJ is supposed to operate independently.
But Donald Trump is her boss.
So he can hire and fire. That's it.
But he can also direct his attorney general presidents direct their attorney generals.
People don't typically direct their attorney generals like that. That's not the norm.
Okay, sure. Let's end it there because I feel like we'll go 30 minutes on this.
Dude, I'm just
all right,
curious,
well,
wait, just as a media critical person, do you know what the three branches of government are?
Yeah, the judiciary, executive, and legislative.
Okay, good job. A+.
All right, let's go to closing statements. So since Destiny went first, then I think Misfit, you should go first for the closing statement.
Sure.
Say whatever you need, and go ahead.
Okay. I mean, my closing statement is going to be similar to my opening statement. I'm just going to rattle through the list of achievements, and I think that any real critical thinking person will say that if you look at your life now versus, I would say even 6 months or 8
Wait, before we do
months ago.
closings, what do we think about the Epstein thing? Can we just visit that for 2 seconds? How do we feel about
If Misfit has time, then we can.
Yeah, I guess. I mean,
Okay, let's limit it to like 5-ish minutes. But
well, yeah.
Well, I'm just curious. It seems like the Epstein thing is a pretty big fumble.
Yeah, Pam Bondi should be fired.
Do you think he's going to fire her?
No. But
Why
she should
not?
be fired. Well, here's the thing about the Epstein files, the whole situation with the Epstein files, right? None of it's really an indictment against Trump, other than he definitely hired the wrong person for attorney general because she spent her time lying to the American people about how there was this big bombshell that didn't exist, and now that there's a big nothing burger, it's a bad reflection on Trump. So she should be fired on that alone.
What about the evidence that the FBI was like pointing out like where Donald Trump is coming up in the Epstein files and then filtering that information up to Pam Bondi?
Everyone knew Donald Trump. Donald Trump was in the Epstein files, and he knew that when he was releasing them.
Okay, so don't you think like Kash Patel and Dan Bongo Balls, shouldn't both these people get fired too? All three of these people should be gone, right?
What do you mean? Hold on.
Wasn't Kash Patel and Don Bongino, weren't they also saying that there is like huge information that they were going to be able to release?
Before they were in office, before they were in the administration and actually saw the lack of evidence, they made a presumption that there was evidence there that I believe was already destroyed. And I don't think that anybody on your side has any credible argument for the Epstein files when Biden had 4 years to release the Epstein files.
Wait, why didn't maybe Donald Trump destroyed them all?
When
Epstein died, when he was president of the United States in 2019?
Okay. So Donald Trump destroyed them, but not Biden or Obama or Bush. So Donald Trump was president for like 4 out of the 18 years that Epstein was under indictment, investigation, and eventually arrested. It wasn't until Donald Trump put his DOJ in charge that Epstein was actually arrested, right? Epstein was arrested under Donald Trump.
Doesn't that hurt? Yeah, so if he was arrested under Donald Trump, put into jail, and then died in prison, in a federal prison, and now, so how would Biden even have the chance to destroy any files? Seems like this is all under Donald Trump's supervision. Maybe Donald Trump is protecting himself.
I mean, he did die in 2019, and that was close to when Donald Trump was on his way out, and he was kind of busy with that whole COVID thing.
It was 2 years after, but...
Well, COVID, I mean, like I said, Epstein died in 2019. And then, so that would give about a year and change where Trump probably could have looked into it more, but I don't think it was at the top of his list of priorities. I think he was running the country.
Do you think there's like a big incentive for Trump to hide that maybe because he's in the files?
Wait, no. Donald Trump is the only person that cooperated with the DOJ and testified against Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump kicked out Jeffrey Epstein from his club in Mar-a-Lago 30 years ago and has no contact with him
after he knew that Epstein was stealing employees there to go bring to his own place. Yeah, he let him take one and then he brought him back. And after the second one, he was like, okay, now you're gone.
No, he knew he was stealing employees. He didn't know that he was a sex trafficker.
Oh, that's crazy. Because then why did he fire him after he took the second employee? After he's literally saying on record that like everybody knows that he likes young women and everything. Yeah,
like I think he meant young like 18, 19. I don't think he knew that the guy was I know he didn't know he was a sex trafficker because he's been investigated ad nauseum. Jeffrey Epstein's own victims said they never saw Donald Trump with Jeffrey Epstein. They never saw Donald Trump do anything improper with Jeffrey Epstein. Donald Trump is in the Epstein files as a guy who cooperated with the DOJ against Jeffrey Epstein, and he was listed on the plane along with Ivanka.
If Trump knew that he was such a bad guy, why did Trump make Acosta his labor secretary when Acosta was the prosecutor that cut that sweetheart deal for Epstein in 2001 or whatever?
I don't know. I can't answer that. I have no idea.
Okay. And then the FBI said that, like, we go ahead and noted all the places where he was in the files, and then the DOJ decides not to have anything.
Hold on. Let's use your own logic that you're applying to Donald Trump against Joe Biden and against Barack Obama. Joe Biden and Barack Obama are very good friends with the Clintons, and Bill Clinton was on the Epstein plane 27 times. He was on the island. There was a painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress and red high heels in the fucking building where they were fucking kids. So you can put two and two together and create Donald Trump's a pedophile, but you can't even fucking remotely entertain the idea that Biden or Obama, who had way more time, could have destroyed evidence to protect their fucking social circle. Like, I mean, come on, dude.
No, I don't think that makes any sense. That none of them had.
How?
You said it yourself that Epstein didn't end up being arrested until under Trump's administration. We know that Epstein is on recording saying that he was best friends with Donald Trump for 10 years. You know that if that same recording existed for him saying he was the best friends with the Clintons or the Obamas, you guys would be losing your mind over. But because it was with Trump, nobody cares about it.
They were friends in the 90s. Jeffrey Epstein was arrested in 2000 and was it 4? I think it was.
So you think that he just started all of it and got arrested immediately?
No, he got arrested for having an underage hooker. I believe it was 2004. That was under Bush, right? So you had Bush who arrested
but everybody knew that he liked young girls before then. Trump and everybody else had said that. Trump even sent him a birthday card. It was in that thing that got published recently that he got really mad about it, that he's suing the Wall Street Journal for.
The thing that's completely fucking made up. He wrote on like a pubic area. Do you have any idea how ridiculous? Let's not go down that rabbit hole.
You think that whole story is fake?
Yes, that's why he's suing them.
You think that if you sue somebody, it means you're okay? Interesting.
I mean, it doesn't make sense on its face. It's basically like this probably would have come up in the decades-long investigations. It just conveniently comes out now that there was this magical birthday card that shows up right as the Epstein files are.
What about when Donald Trump on video is wishing Ghislaine well, even though he knows that she's in prison or whatever, and he's like, "Well, her husband died, and I wish her well. I wish her well."
I think that's just a saying, but either way, right? Hold
just
on.
a saying?
No. Let's not do the thing where you pivot and try.
I'm not pivoting. I'm saying there's a lot of connections between Trump and Epstein.
No. Let's go back. You said there's a lot of connections to Donald Trump and Jeffrey Epstein, right?
Mm-hmm.
I have told you the connections to Donald Trump ceased in the 1990s. Bill Clinton was on the Lolita Express 27 times, and there is a painting of Bill Clinton in a blue dress with red high heels on that has been authenticated and verified by the Department of Justice. They found a painting of Bill Clinton, which looks like a portrait that he posed.
I think we can all agree that Bill Clinton was a massive perv. Like, people on the left are not going to argue with that.
I don't even know, where is this painting?
You haven't heard of this? I mean, go. You can look it up. Look up Bill Clinton blue dress painting. It's real, by the way. So Bill Clinton, who is friends with Jeffrey Epstein after the 90s, on the Lolita Express at the island where they had sex with young children. And there's way more of a connection. So applying your Trump logic of, just a connection is apparently enough to jump to the conclusion that he's, presumably you think he's doing nefarious activities, then you would have to apply that logic to Bill Clinton, which would also incentivize Joe Biden and Barack Obama, and honestly, George Bush too, because they're all buddies, to destroy.
Wait, where do you think this painting? Where do you think this painting came from?
That came from the island. That was in Jeffrey Epstein's.
Yeah, but who commissioned the painting? Where did it come from?
I can't remember.
It was some random Australian artist painted this painting because she thought it was funny, making fun of Bill, and then apparently Epstein bought it and he showed it at his island. This wasn't made for Epstein. It wasn't made by Epstein, and it wasn't So Epstein was such good friends with Bill Clinton that he bought that painting, brought it to the island so that he could show Bill Clinton and have a laugh. Or it's just a funny painting because it's a painting of Bill Clinton in a dress on a chair pointing at somebody.
Okay, so again, Jeffrey Epstein was such good friends with Bill Clinton that he
What you
bought
could
that
couldn't you just
painting.
buy this to make fun of somebody? Why would you have to be really good friends to buy a painting like this?
Because they were good friends. He was on the Lolita Express 27
We don't
times.
have.
He
We've
was
got.
at the island.
Wait, you acknowledge there's more evidence that Epstein was good friends with Trump than he was with Bill Clinton? No.
No, I would not acknowledge that. I would say that that Bill Clinton was friends with Epstein at the height of his proclivities.
So in
opposed to Donald Trump.
2002, Trump told New York Magazine that Epstein was a terrific guy. That was in 2002.
Which was 2 years before anyone knew that he was a fucking pedophile.
Oh, okay. I thought that there were statements of Trump and everybody saying that they knew that he liked young girls and was kind of weird, but
I think that maybe if there is a quote, young girl, like I could say about my friend that he likes young girls, and I'm referring to like 20-year-olds, right? Like I could be like, my buddy Paul, he likes young girls, right? Like I'm not talking about children, but
Okay.
I'm not, and
it's
that's
a lot
just,
of
I'm just
charity,
saying,
but okay, yeah.
it might be a little bit of charity, but I think that you're maybe jumping to a conclusion that has another explanation. But either way, okay, so let me pin you down on this, right? The connection of Jeffrey Epstein with Bill Clinton, and there's allegedly like the other associates. There's like, if you go through the Epstein files, part 1, the binder files, whatever. I think that it's not a reasonable, or I think it's not arguing in good faith to say every single person that was ever on that plane was a pedophile, right? I think that's a ridiculous statement, right? However, when you're on the plane 27 times and you're on the island itself and there's a painting of you in a dress in the building where they were doing the fucking shady shit with the kids, I think that's more of a connection than a guy who...
When was the
kicked
last
you-
time Bill Clinton met with Epstein?
I think it was in the 2000s.
2002 is when Epstein apparently met Bill Clinton for the last time. So that was the same time that Donald Trump said he was a terrific guy. You said in 2002 nobody knew yet. So why would Bill Clinton have known, but Donald Trump wouldn't have?
So I don't know. You might have a good point there. Where are you getting that Clinton's last?
I'm seeing
connection
Bill
with
Clinton
Epstein?
took 4 trips with staff on Epstein's private plane in 2002 and 2003, and then met with Epstein in New York in 2002.
There was 27. He was on there's 27.
Citing flight logs, U.S. media have reported Clinton flew on Epstein's jet up to 26 times, occasionally without his Secret Service detail. Yeah, but that's just on his plane. That's not even saying he was on there, and it doesn't say
Okay,
anything
wait,
about him
hold
going
on.
to his island.
Yeah. No. I think you'd have to go and look at the files, but I'm pretty sure that there is confirmation that he was on the island. All
Yeah,
right,
I
but
think he's
let's
been on the island, but I'm saying that like he didn't like take 26 or 27 trips to the island.
No, but even one. Donald Trump was never on the island. Donald Trump took the plane back and forth from Florida to New York a couple times, right? So he never went to the island. Clinton went to the island where the painting of Bill Clinton was. Like I'm saying,
If all of this is true, then why wouldn't Donald Trump then just release all of the Epstein files for us to go through? If all of this is true, there's evidence of all of this.
Because I just told you, Donald Trump only had control of the Epstein files if he was paying attention for 4 years, and I don't think he was. But I think that what he did do was indict and arrest Jeffrey Epstein, which neither George Bush did actually, which neither Barack Obama or Joe Biden did, right? So by your own logic, right, what I'm telling you is you have a stronger connection with Bill Clinton, right, which would, by your own logic, lead to some nefarious intent.
I don't know what you're saying by my logic. That's just not the case.
Well, your logic is Donald Trump was friends with Jeffrey Epstein.
And
right?
knew that he was visiting his properties and knew that he was taking teenage workers and hiring them for himself. And then
Okay. Yeah,
and then Epstein said that he was best friends with Donald Trump for 10 years.
And that was back in the 1990s. Okay.
Sure. And Donald Trump made Acosta, the guy that cut the sweetheart deal with Epstein, the prosecutor, he made him his Department of Labor secretary from 2017 to 2019. Just seems like a lot of weird connections. Yeah.
Yeah, maybe he just didn't make the connection. Maybe he just hired Acosta. But either way, but what I'm saying is, but your logic is you're alluding to nefarious intent because of a connection. So the only thing I did was
to be clear, I'm not alluding to. You can be connected. I'll be honest. Like a lot of people, I'm sure, were connected with this guy because he was wealthy. But I'm just saying that the fact that Donald Trump has gone out of his way to have the FBI mark his involvement with Epstein, and then he's saying that they're not going to release anything about it. Now suddenly he's acting surprised. Everybody's so mad about it. He's saying, I don't know why we're even talking about the Epstein thing. Seems kind of weird.
This is what I'm saying. I'm using your own logic. Your own logic is, you said Trump is all over the Epstein files. I clarified to you, he's only in the Epstein files a couple of times. One, where he testified against Jeffrey Epstein. He was one of the people that put Jeffrey Epstein in jail. Bill Clinton didn't testify, right? But none of the other associates testified. Donald Trump was the only person that came out and testified against Jeffrey Epstein. So there's that.
When did he testify against Epstein? What is this about? Which arrest?
It was, I believe it was after the 2004 arrest. I believe it was after the underage prostitute. So
you said he testified in that criminal proceeding?
He testified again, I believe he gave a statement to the authorities. He might not have actually testified.
I just fact-checked it. No, there was no testimony.
He gave testimony. I'm sorry. He gave testimony. He did not testify. And that's confirmed by the DOJ. The DOJ is...
Wait, gave testimony where? For what? I don't think this happened ever. I don't think he ever was interviewed or deposed or gave any statements about Epstein to any...
He did. I guarantee it. I am 1,000% sure on this. So... But Donald Trump is in the Epstein files as I'm sorry. When I said testify, it sounded like I meant in court. He was interviewed by the DOJ, and this is all public record. You can actually look up the testimony. He talks to the DOJ when they were investigating him.
I don't think this ever happened.
Oh, I guarantee you it did.
Okay.
Let me ask here. Did...
quickly look this up as well.
Jeffrey Epstein.
I don't think it happens.
It absolutely did. This internet appears to be offline. Get the fuck out of here. I pay my bills. I'm on my computer, so. What the fuck? Now my shit's not working. I'll just copy paste it. Give me 1 sec. But no. I'm 1,000% sure on this, so you guys can look up on your end. But
yeah, I'm not seeing anything, so it's hard to say.
Is anyone in the chat confirming me?
Nope, nobody else has found anything.
I'm just looking at ChatGPT and says that.
Okay, now from the Hill, President Trump. Oh, sorry, this is a new article. My bad. Epstein grand jury testimony only contains two. Again, a new fucking story. He's just all over.
That's right. You said you were critically analyzing media, and you can see through the bullshit. So.
Yeah. Trump gives interview. Try interview.
I'll double search.
He was interviewed by the timeline of Trump and Epstein's relationship.
Actually, that's what I searched originally. Was Trump interviewed by the DOJ about Epstein? It says there's no credible evidence or credible reporting indicating Donald Trump was interviewed by the Department of Justice concerning Jeffrey Epstein.
He absolutely was. I'm not even guessing on this. I'm not misremembering.
I think what you're thinking is because the DOJ interviewed Ghislaine Maxwell.
No. I think it was the FBI.
Let me give you a few minutes to look this up, and then let's go to closing statements.
Sure. Well, anyway, all right. Let's. Yeah, because we'll be here for it. I can't believe. Yes, Donald Trump agreed to participate. This is from NBC News and Politico. Yes, Donald Trump agreed to participate in an interview with the FBI regarding. Oh, this is fucking fuck you. This is regarding the assassination attempt against him. Fucker. Up against Epstein. Okay. Regardless, I guess in order to move on, so we're not sitting here Googling shit. Assume it's true because it is, but all right, fine. You know what? Assume it's not true. Assume it's not true. Just go with my original point. The connection of Bill Clinton is just as strong as the connection of Donald Trump. So my argument against you, which is essentially using your own argument against yourself, is that if you're going to say that incentive to delete evidence is because Trump is in the Epstein files, I'm telling you Bill Clinton is also in the Epstein files, right?
But if Bill Clinton and all them were incentivized to hide this, then Obama probably would have just deleted everything relating to Epstein, and so they never could have arrested him. And
well, that's what I'm saying. Well, he was arrested under Bush. right? So he was arrested under 2 Republicans, no Democrats.
Okay.
Right?
He was given, but people say he was given a sweetheart deal under Bush, didn't they?
He was, and I'm not. That's what I'm saying. That's why I kind of did that tongue in cheek.
So was it also tongue in cheek when Trump arrested him?
No, what I'm saying is your logic. Trump. You said Trump.
You keep saying my logic, but you're not citing why I'm saying they have a close connection. There's no Epstein phone call saying he was personal best friends with Bill Clinton or Barack Obama or anybody else for 10 years, right?
Yeah, but Donald Trump, you're talking about 30 years ago, right? Or now it's more like 30.
I don't think Epstein became a pedophile when he turned like 58. I don't think he just like transformed into that.
Yes, but you would have to make a leap from the only evidence you have. The only connection you have was Donald Trump used to be friends with Jeffrey Epstein, who's friends with a lot of people, right? These rich people are friends with a lot of other rich people, and they're all in the same little social circles. Doesn't mean they know what's going on in their personal life. But then Jeffrey Epstein was stealing girls from Donald Trump's employment, and Donald Trump kicked him out and cut ties with him. And then after Jeffrey Epstein was indicted for being involved with an underage hooker, under Bush, right? Donald Trump was like, "Oh, I had no idea that guy was a creep. I cut ties with him, like a decade ago or 15 years ago, et cetera, et cetera." And then the women that were in the Epstein files, the only time Trump is mentioned, they are saying, "I never saw Donald Trump do anything with Jeffrey Epstein," right? Never. I think that one of the women said, I might be misremembering, but I think that they might have said that Bill Clinton got a massage, or actually, I think there's like a photo of Bill Clinton getting a massage.
Just a quick fact check: the Bill Clinton. I'm sorry, fuck, you got me talking about Bill Clinton. The Jeffrey Epstein saying that the audio recording where he's saying that Trump was his best friend, that was recorded in 2017.
Where is that? What's that from?
My source is ChatGPT. It was recorded by.
Anyway,
Michael Wolff. But anyway,
I'm gonna finish my final point here, right? Because again,
go ahead.
What I'm saying is the connection of friends with Jeffrey Epstein is evidence that you would have some incentive to destroy evidence, right? Would apply to Trump, like in your by your logic, but it would also apply to both Biden and Obama. The only difference is Biden and Obama didn't arrest Jeffrey Epstein, but Trump did. Biden and Obama didn't testify against.
If Ghislaine Maxwell gets released right now under Trump, would you agree that that's really bad and highly sus?
That would be absolutely horrible, and I've already made a public statement. I go, if she is going to roll over on everybody and give all of the evidence, at max, you should put her in a better facility, which she's already doing. So I think that it's already happening. At maximum, you put her in a better facility and maybe take some time off her sentence, maybe. But no, you do not let a sex trafficking madam go as a trade-off. And if he does that, you can fucking screen record this because I am going to say it publicly. I will be so pissed off, and I will say that this is absolute bullshit, right? You don't release people that harm children just because they rolled over on other people who harmed children. That will be that would put a big stain on his reputation in my eyes.
Okay.
So I don't think you should do that. I call balls and strikes even with Trump. I'm a super fan of Donald Trump, but
if Donald Trump released Ghislaine Maxwell, would you say that voting for Kamala would have been better than voting for Donald Trump?
No,
okay.
It just wouldn't.
I know
because I wouldn't be able to justify this. I would say it's absolutely horrible.
It's all good. We know. It's all good.
But no, I mean, I think that if Kamala Harris was president right now, I think that we would be fucked. Mm-hmm. I think that she would have let the tax cuts expire. I think that there would be. I think that the wars in both countries would actually be worse than they are right now. Mm-hmm. I don't think that anybody in Iran. I think Iran wouldn't even deal with her because she's a woman. I don't think that you can have Muslims negotiating with women presidents. I don't think they're going to do it. So I don't think that she would have been able to pull off Operation Midnight Hammer. But anyway, I know we're going to.
What does being a woman have to do with Operation Midnight Hammer? Isn't that an example of Trump not being able to negotiate with Iran?
Let's go to closing statements.
Yeah, because Muslims don't view women as equals. That was my point.
Well, they don't view Trump as an equal either because apparently they didn't negotiate with him as well. So.
They didn't have to. It's like
Let's jump to closing statements. We're going on 2.5 hours, so
yeah, I'm definitely tired.
let's get into it. So Misfit, you go first.
Oh yeah, so yeah, all right. So to finish, all right. So to start over. By the way, Trump definitely did give an interview, and after this is over, I will send it to both of you once I find it. Can't believe we can't find it in real time. My closing statement is going to be very similar to my opening without all the other bullshit in it. I'm just going to list off the accomplishments, okay? Because the prompt of this debate is Trump's first 6 months in office a success or a failure? The only thing that Destiny has proven is that he doesn't like Donald Trump's character, and he has opinions about Trump being corrupt with no actual evidence to back it up. He keeps on saying facts, but they're not facts. They're his opinions. He has a clear double standard when it comes to pretty much every fucking thing, which I've accurately pointed out just recently in the last few minutes by pointing out he doesn't make the connection between Bill Clinton, but he makes the connection between Donald Trump. It's because Destiny is a partisan hack who is only using confirmation bias to form his opinions. Meanwhile, I do something different. I use critical thinking, and I have just in the past few minutes said I will call out Donald Trump if he does something wrong. You can quote me on it. But to go over the list one more time, Operation Midnight Hammer. Operation Midnight Hammer was an operation that I think only Donald Trump could have done. Every president's talked about it. Trump's the only one that did it. Iran does not have nuclear capabilities. They probably won't for a very long time. Hopefully never. The executive orders that he signed overturning Biden's executive orders, this whole back and forth executive order game, speak for themselves. And I think that ruling through executive order is absolutely fine. Just like I told Destiny, I think that the president should do everything in their power to enact their policies. And as long as it's not unconstitutional or an abuse of authority, I think they should do it. Biden did it. I was fine with it. I didn't like what Biden was doing. Trump did it. I'm fine with it. And I do like what Trump's doing. And then just really quick, we didn't even get to touch on this, but the Department of Education with Linda McMahon, that's going to be putting power back into the states, which is what this country intended. I want limited government. I want state-run government. I think that people in the state know how to run and govern their states better than the federal government does. Title IX was also a huge win that we didn't get to. That's taking men out of women's sports is huge for all of these girls who are getting unfair treatment, or were getting unfair treatment. The Lake and Riley Act we didn't touch on. We did touch on the border, but the Lake and Riley Act is huge. We did go over jobs. We did go over wars. We did go over a couple other things. We didn't go over NATO spending, but Donald Trump got NATO to increase their spending just like he did in the first term. And there's just, I have a list of probably 30 things here. And the only thing Destiny can do is talk about Trump's character and come up with conspiracy theories about the corruption, which have no basis in fact. They're just opinions. So on that alone, like I said in my opening statement, I don't care if I win the popularity contest. I won this debate on the facts because I have the facts. Destiny has personal biases. So that's my statement. I do appreciate Destiny. Destiny, you're a gentleman most of the time. I think it was a fair debate. I think you did a great job, and I appreciate you.
Ooh, let's go to Destiny.
Yeah, it's an unbeatable argument to say that I'm a partisan hack when this guy literally has fucking Donald Trump tattooed on his leg. I don't know how I'm the partisan here when Trump is literally a part of his body. People say that I'm not using people don't say, but Mr. is saying I'm not using facts. I brought up a lot of factual evidence to support literally every single thing I'm bringing up. The few facts that he tried to lean in on, he was completely and utterly incorrect about. He was 1,000% sure that Donald Trump had given some kind of testimony, some kind of sworn under oath, anything about Epstein. Apparently that never happened, despite him being 1,000% sure of it. Maybe he means 1,000% the same way that Donald Trump means he'll lower drug prices 1,000%, which is impossible unless he's paying us 9 times the cost of the drug to take it, maybe. I still stand firmly behind everything else I said. I think he weaponizes the DOJ in a horrible way. Misfit already admitted, like on almost every single point, that Donald Trump is utilizing these things in ways that nobody ever has before. But since it's apparently legal, that means that it's okay for him to do it, which I don't think is generally the standard that we hold the president to. I think I brought up a lot of concrete examples of the way that Donald Trump has been corrupt, and a lot of these misfits even agreed with. When it comes to like Trump coin, for instance, that's just a horrendous idea. The idea that he was unaware that there was that millionaire's dinner for the top crypto holders of his own crypto coin to go and have a dinner with him, I think is absolutely insane. And I don't know, every other thing is just, I think that conservatives are allergic to facts. I think that when you start to dive into the facts of literally any of these issues, like the difference between Biden talking about Shogun being fired in Ukraine versus the quid pro quo that Donald Trump and Giuliani try to do with Ukraine is absolutely unhinged. Like the deficit spending, like every big mistake that Donald Trump makes seems to be either hyperbole or he's like excused for it for some reason. I just think it's absolutely unhinged that anybody could defend Trump today. But I guess when you look at the media consumption patterns and the fact that there seems to be zero actual factual engagement with any of the topics at hand, that it's possible to just love him forever. Yeah.
All right, awesome. I thought this was a good debate. I think covered a lot of good topics related to Trump. So thank both of you guys for coming on. I think you guys both should just quickly plug your channel. So Misfit, where can people find you?
Yeah, it's been spotty lately, but I try to do Tuesdays through Thursdays on Rumble. It's called TMP Uncensored. We do that podcast in the mornings, and you can find me on X, Misfit Patriot _ and Instagram, The Misfit Patriot.
Cool. Destiny?
Yeah, just youtube.com/Destiny, kick.com/Destiny.
All right, awesome. Thank you, both of you, for coming on, and thank you, everyone in the chat, for showing up. I appreciate you guys. Love you guys, and I'll see you guys next time. Take it easy.
Thanks.
Later.
Jesus Christ. Okay. I love you guys. We'll be back tomorrow. I think I have a few debates, events, things set up for tomorrow, I think. Oh, that Brad Taste guy. That'll be interesting. I love you. Be careful. Stay safe.